shack at. The bottles getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, December 28th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Excellent work we did yesterday. It could have been, one of the greatest days I maybe ever really had on the show. It could have been. We lost on the Bucks first quarter. They easily covered the first half in the full game. So that was a mistake, getting too cute. We cashed the USC Louisville over so easily. And then in NHL, we capped that card so incredibly well. CMAC had a monster day. I was very close to going 6-0 plus 8 units. Unfortunately, the Blue Jackets lost in overtime. That'll happen. I've lost 8 straight games in overtime. That's going to change. That's just crazy. Losing 8 straight overtimes. It just makes no sense. That'll change. And I'll get real hot when it does. And then the Senators' first period got too cute. That could have been an easy full game cash. Or just got too cute. Was stupid. But Bruins -1 was just a no sweat. Sit back and cash. Penguins money line was just 7-0, no sweat. Sit back and cash. And then the Blues and the Kraken were 2-1 victories. And sometimes you need 2-1 victories. Sometimes you need guys like Holford to stand on their head. But CMAC also cashed the Anaheim Ducks at +2. I can't remember, 210, I believe. We just dominated every second of that NHL card. And the upsetting part of it is that I could have made so much more money. I don't mind losing the 8th straight game in overtime, which is absolutely ludicrous. But the Senators was, a mistake. Moving on them first period, in hindsight, should have taken them full game. But good God, we are seeing things very clearly. Now, I made a big point to Mr. Gogster, who's going to be on here early, that we have to be better. We have to be better in NHL. It's just not good enough. Last year we were both, just right around even at the end of the year. And it's just not good enough. And so he went 8-2 last Tuesday, a +7.18 units. And he's in the black now. I'm in the black now in NHL. We're eating up college and NBA. So everything's going smoothly. Everything is going exactly how we want it to be going. And before we roll in everything, I give a what up to all of you guys, because you guys are such a hugely important part of our show. This chat gives out winners after winners. We all cash together. We all cash nonstop. The breakdown to the bowl games. I left money on the table there. I only moved on that one over, but the breakdowns were spectacular. I thought everything is moving in the right direction, and I love every second of it. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's talk about our poker tournament. We are about 33 hours away from our poker tournament here at Pub Sports Radio. And there's a $50 $50 bounty on my head, a $50 bounty on Slaughter's head. And this just in, a previous winner of our poker tournament, Joseph Thompson, Joe T, who's been dropping winners in our chat nonstop, has put a $25 bounty on his head. I wonder if that inspires more people to put bounties on their heads. And we want you guys to sign up. We want you guys to sign up badly. Right now, we have 8 players signed up. We have Garth, Daisy, myself, K-Wolf, Big Show, Ramon Scott, Say Hey Jose. We have Slaughter. We have TJ all signed up, and we have more people signing up today. Joe T is going to sign up, who is putting the $25 bounty on his head. We're going to have Pete Loshak's going to sign up today. We're going to have more signups, and we want people to sign up during the show. So I'm going to keep this in front of me here. And if we get people to sign up during the show, we'll have prizes for them when they come to San Antonio. One, our very own Jose Bouquet has said he will pick up anybody who signs up live during our show. He will pick them up at the airport. There's one. And we will provide gifts for you. We will provide gifts if you sign up during the show. So I'll keep this up, and you have to obviously come to San Antonio for Pubapalooza. I'm rocking my Pubapalooza shirt on right now. Pubapalooza, 22nd to 24th. The Big Ragu just booked his ticket yesterday. We had Razor Sharp Picks book his ticket yesterday as well. A lot of us are gonna be in there on the Thursday. We're gonna fly in on the Wednesday night so we can be ready to go on the Thursday. I'll be doing live shows there on Thursday and Friday. We have the poker tournament on Friday, the Spurs game on Saturday if you want to go. Generally, I would be there for sure, but that bar is very comforting. There's a lot of warmth in that bar, and we're going to be betting so much, dude, all together. So I don't know if I move from the bar. I think I'll just sit in the bar for 3 days straight. But great work from all of you guys, and let's continue it on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Justin McKelvey. Justin McKelvey. God, I'm so used to calling him McKelvey. Justin McKelvey stacks PAYDAY Oklahoma plus 112. And the record now 121 and 117. Vipe coming off a 2-1 day. Let me copy and paste all of that action. Vipes on Vancouver -1. That's the only bet I have right now. And, I faded the Flyers, and this will be the third straight game I faded the Flyers. I expect it to be the third straight game I cash fading the Flyers. I think the Flyers are a good hockey team. Don't get me wrong. They're a good hockey team. They're totally overvalued in the marketplace. They're not a playoff team. That they're being treated in the marketplace as if they're a playoff team. They're not. And everybody wants to back them because everybody's made so much money on them. It's a perfect world. Everybody's made so much money on the Flyers this year. Every time I put out a tweet fading the Flyers, I get nonstop people saying, "Oh, I was going to be on the Flyers. I'm going to be on the Flyers." Great. Trust your cap. We're not going up against each other. I put my action out every day more for just accountability and honesty because it's non-existent in this industry. That's all. I'm not really trying to push anybody in any direction. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I just want to be the best gambler I can be. And I'm just putting my stuff out there. I think the Flyers are severely overvalued in the marketplace, and I will continue fading them until they fall out of the playoff picture in their market. The market's correct with it. So Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Can't wait to hang with Razor in San Antonio. There's Swiggy Bets. Thanks for the Bruins -1 yesterday. Jimmy and Slots. Yes, that was, it turned out that the Pens were probably the better bet on the board. I still think that Blue Jackets was a spectacular spot. If you're looking for risk reward, then the Ducks obviously was the best risk reward. But, it's the first day back off of a break. So everybody just, take note. The only favorite we gave out yesterday was the Bruins, and they were on a 4-game losing streak. So there was reasoning behind that. Every other spot was a dog, and we destroyed the card. So just, keep that in mind. Anytime you're coming off a break, just back the dogs. Troy Torrance in the house. He's on the Browns. We're going to talk about that. So we have NHL, 4 games in the NHL. We have 1 game in NFL. Then Daby Cab is going to join us. He's got 2 games in college basketball to get started. USC Trojans and Oregon Ducks, and UCLA Oregon State. Then Dave Rogers is going to join us, and the 3 of us, just like yesterday, are going to cap the bowl games. Pinstripe Bowl first, then the Poptarts Bowl second, and then the Alamo Bowl in Jose's backyard here third. Then Dave's going to stick around because he's got 4 college basketball games. He's got UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, Montana State, Idaho State. And then he also is moving on USC Oregon. So we'll get a second look at how he's moving on that game. And then Long Beach State, Cal State, Fullerton closes it up. And then we have NBA with Darryl. And, I'm off to a strong start. I'm actually in a rough patch. It's my first rough patch of the season, but I'm still 35-22 at 61.4% in NBA plus 11.37 units. Darryl, 15-10. He's hitting at 60%. So we're both hitting at 60%. He's 4.18 units. His ROI 16.72%. We both have NBA ROIs over 15%. And his average line is just -101. So We're moving in the right direction. There's serious business in the house. Ian Shaber, Justin McKelvey is talking about the SMU spot that's on right now. Wine Time Sports, Nate Dogg, Gold 44. Trill OG play of the day is in from our guy LJ from H-Town. LJ under the weather right now. We're thinking of you. Get better, my friend. Get better and rest up and get better. Let's copy and paste. And look, even with the flu, that's what makes the show special. Even with the flu, LJ needs to come in and deliver the goods for us. That's Jazz, Pelicanos, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll talk about that with Darryl. Slatsy coming off a 6-3 day yesterday. Kuchi getting number 300. And he says, thanks for talking me off the aisles. Yeah, it was great. You know, it was great. Now, that was a really tight game for the first half of it. 7-0 probably isn't the right story. How about Letang with 5 assists? But great stuff. Great stuff. And it's not enough. We need more. We need, for me, I need to deliver more. I needed Gogster and I to be in the black. Check. Now we need to be up double-digit units. So let's not talk about any success until we're each up double-digit units. Red Girl in the house. Troy Torrance says, I was up all night watching film and looking Rams, Giants, and Browns, Jets. I love that. Love that. And, of course, we have the Cappers Contest show today at 3 p.m. Eastern. And, you know, it's not so bad. Now, we're not going to get paid, unfortunately. But, you know, you just want bounce backs, right? You want it to be able to handle adversity okay. And that's what we did. We went 4-1 last week. So we're 42-36. We're in 1,746th place. You know, it's not going to get us even if we go 10-0 here over the next 2 weeks, we won't get into the top 10. But it's still been a good showing, and I'm excited for us doing it again next year. Andrew G ready to go. Jay Peasy ready to roll. Subhuman Gaucho in the house. There's Joe T right there. There's our guy Joe T right there, putting a $25 bounty on his head of his own money. What a guy. I love it. Respect it. Troy Torrance, USC, and Virginia Tech. Great calls on both. It was fun watching, you know, Moss throw last night. It was fun. Leinart talking about him like a son, you know, it was great. And then all this talk about Leinart's son. I guess it's going to be very good. O'Brien Palmer in the house said that Sharks Ducks leans first period, probably for a huge payout. Good job, O'Brien. Excellent work. You know, cap the cappers. Listen to you got, you know, in North End saying we cooked in here yesterday. We did cook, but also cap the cappers. You guys know, you've seen me cap long enough where you can see when I'm really confident in the spot, you know, and you can see when I'm not quite there. So, you know, it was excellent work. Excellent work by all of us yesterday. Nice to get that cash. Von Polo in the house. Subhuman Gaucho. The soccer play of the day is in. Jared Bowen, anytime goal. Jared Bowen, anytime goal here. Let's copy and paste our guys' action right under Vipes action. We'll discuss Vipes action. Got a lot of NBA props here, so we'll handle all of that. There's Jay Smooth in the house. Coin ready to get to work. Joey Harb, Dana Delp. I love it. I love it. Dan Kelly, Nate Dogg 420, Slatsy. Great to see all of you guys. Catchman 19. Dan Kelly says Jarrett Allen in all capitals. What a comeback by the Cavs. 15-0 run late. Incredible. Wine Time says he'll be booking his ticket as soon as he can confirm with work. I love it. North Ender had Cavs +4. Got the worst number, but it didn't matter. What a comeback. It was a great comeback. Let's talk boxing in the house. Respect. I love it. Great to see you guys. Slatsy says Urson confirmed for the Flyers. I did cap it thinking about Urson. Osby says, how about those sends? I got too cute, and it cost me a huge spot. Joe Walsh says, what up, that the Jets got him. You know, it's just a funny spot after a break. And if you just, unless you have, if you stick to this for your whole life, it will work for you. If you're going to take a team that's a favorite off of a break, they have to have lost a bunch of games in a row before the break and needed the break. Come back refreshed, come back with motivation. Other than that, it should just be dogs. But, you know, the Jets are a good hockey team, and I can understand why we would expect accountability from a Rick Bowness coached hockey team early. You know, I get it. OK, Jarek White, Sammy Calmer, Pistons +17, Pelicans trifecta, T-Wolves, and interest in Golden State. Look at that. Let's copy and paste that action from our guy, Sammy Calmer in the house. All right, great to see all of you guys. Absolutely. Kelly McInnes, Jared TG, J Dub, the Nuke worker. Only 53 more sleeps until Palooza 3. I love it, Nuke. Jessica Easton in the house. Great to see all you guys. Iron Eagle, saturated. Let's Talk Boxing says Steelers beat the Seahawks. I'm on the other side of that. But I hammered the Steelers last week. But I'm on the other side of that. I'm on the Seahawks. I've got crazy CLV this week. I don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get paid in full, but crazy CLV this week. All right, well, let's get to work. A Sweaty Butcher joining us. Great to see you and all of you guys. Nasty Nate in the house. I tweeted out Nasty Nate's son's fundraiser for the Rhode Island High School basketball team. I'm going to get Jose to pop it in the chat at some point, so you'll see it here under Pub Sports. Kelly McInnes, our guy Kelly McInnes, who's on Montana plus 4.5. Kelly McInnes donated. I donated. Whatever you can do. It doesn't have to be much. If it's just $10, no problem. But, we're Low Bag fam. We help each other. We help each other's families. So if you could hit that link, we're going to pop it here in the chat, or you could get it from my tweet and just send some love to Nasty Nate and to his son's basketball team, Rhode Island High School basketball. Please support. There it is. Thank you, Jose. There is the fundraiser right there. So if you guys can, give it a click, no pressure at all. And if you can't today, we'll bring it up again tomorrow. Or I think we have like 11 more days to support the basketball team. So we'll keep popping it in the chat. Kelly, it was very cool that you dropped in. Kelly wrote, from the Low Bag fam. It was great. Jose Bouquet has donated as well. Jose Bouquet was the first person to donate. I didn't even know it was up, and Jose had already donated. So shout out to Jose, and shout out to everybody supporting our own. Dan Kelly is on Flacco and under 202 passing yards, 202 passing yards. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. If they're in control, why would he need to force the issue? That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Now, look, you're going to see a lot of great records here on today's show, but not in football. So, I challenged Gogster and myself to be better in NHL. We got to do the same in NFL. And Gogster and I, we only have two. We don't even have a Thursday next week. This is the last Thursday of the year, I think. So we'll have to figure that out. There's Matty Ice in the house. Matty Ice going to be at Palooza as well. All right, let's get to work here. And fire away. Let's Talk Boxing. Though says Steelers have Seahawks and Ravens. If they lose both games, they go for the first losing season ever for Tomlin. Yeah, we talked all about that. They're going all out against Seahawks. Yeah, I don't think they can play more violent and more all out than they did last week. I think it's a tricky spot with them flying cross country. And I don't think they're that good. I don't think their defense is very good. We'll talk all about that. And all our videos are up right now. And I was going to add action, but good God, my CLV is very, very good in sides right now. The Taint play of the day is in. It's Tennessee Martin plus 4.5. So we will talk about that when we get into college basketball. The Taint play of the day is in. I think we'll save that for when we close it up with Dave Rogers, but Taint is in. And Jason Easler screaming Taint. Nothing better than waking up in the morning and screaming Taint. Let's get to work, shall we? We start in NHL. We're coming off a 4-2 day plus 2.9 units. God, could have been a 6-0 day plus 8 units, but whatever. Still a winning day. And we're in the black, and we haven't spent much time in the black this year. Please welcome from one of the dirtiest spots in this country, Canada. There's not a lot of really dirty, gritty, shady, dicey cities. Now there's projects here in Toronto, Parkdale being one of them. I barely got my family out of, but there's not as many full cities full of limps and neck tats and heavy smokers. You want to go to a city full of cigarette smokers. It's Mr. Gogster's hometown, and he developed the nickname Raw Dog from years. And he told us about Kayla and others. You don't know the stories of him in Costa Rica. Maybe you'll hear the stories of him in San Antonio. But that will be saved for another show. Please welcome from Belleville, Ontario, Mr. Gogster to the show. Gogster, how are you, my friend?
What's going on, Jim? Top of the morning.
Let's get to work. My guy. Yes, Nasty Nate, you did name him that many moons ago, but he developed it over time. Kent Davies says, my wife just gave me the okay to fly up to San Antonio for a day, just for a day. Kent, you're a monster. You are a monster. Mr. Gogster.
Yeah.
You are coming off a simply spectacular day. 8-2 plus 7.18 units. Spectacular work, my friend.
Nice job.
Yeah, very impressive. How's your NHL going right now?
It's pretty good. Yeah, a good day. That's probably the best day we've had on the show so far, guys. Hopefully we can keep her going. Got a nice 4 games, really capped the shit out of these 4 games. So got a good feel here, Jim. Let's keep her moving.
Let's get right to it. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern with the Montreal Canadiens 15-13-5, 8-4-3 on the road to the Carolina Hurricanes. We're at PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. I helped get some people off of the Predators yesterday. And it was a pretty simple psychological situation where I just, I gave the image of Brendan Moore just walking into the dressing room and not saying a word, just staring at everybody, kicking a garbage can, slapping somebody in the face maybe, and walking out. That's all he had to do. And they react. They were very good. They win 5-2 on the road. Sebastian Aho has a goal and 3 assists. There were some problems, though. They were outshot 37-27. They were out hit 27-17. And now Peter Kochetkov, who looked very good in that, stopping 35-37, is replaced by Antti Ranta, who is 34. They've often talked in the NHL about this being the age when goaltenders slip, but we've seen goaltenders beat that over the last 5 years. But 34 years old. He looks very slow and old in net. He hasn't had a start in the NHL since December 15th when he allowed 6 goals to Nashville. He's lost 5 straight starts, and he's allowed 23 goals over that span. So as much as I would like to back the Hurricanes here, and if I, was given a free bet, that would be the only place I would look. I cannot imagine how to bet them at this number. They are too big of a favorite with Antti Ranta and net. And maybe the more I talk about Antti Ranta, maybe the more I think that Montreal does have value at this number. I'm not going to fade the Hurricanes at home. I bet you here with the Hurricanes are I don't have they were a late game, so I don't have the record up on my worksheet, but I bet you over the next 25 home games. I'll find out exactly how many they have left. I bet you they win 18 of them. I bet you they go on an 80-85% clip at home. I want to be backing them as much as possible. They are better than their record indicates. The problem is Ranta in net. That is the big problem. Tori Coker in the house. Great to see you, my man. So, yes, Vipe, I will keep calling it a dressing room as well. So Ranta is the problem. 3.61 goals against average, 854 save percentage, 1 shutout. When we take a look at the line history, these Canes opened up at minus 260. They're now at minus 253. A slight move away from them. Slight. And then from a total scenario here, we are dealing with a 6.5. It's juiced to the under at minus 112. There have been times where this has dropped to 6 and come back to 6.5, drop to 6 and come back to 6.5. At this point, there's been a very, very slight move to the over. Montreal power play at 17.7%. Caden Primo will be in between the pipes. Looking forward to hear your thoughts on that. Gogster 4-3, 3.20 goals against average, 902 save percentage. Montreal comes in off its 3rd win in 4 games. 5-2 at the Blackhawks last Friday. So we have a couple situations like this in this 4-game card where we have one team who's on the second half of the back-to-back and another team that's full of rest. And honestly, being off for 6 days with a Christmas break is not a good thing. So I don't know if it's an advantage for Montreal, really. So that is the situation we have right now. Mr. Gogster, take it away. Habs, Canes.
Yeah, great breakdown as always, Jimmy. So in this game, guys, Carolina's had their number. They've won 6 of the last 6 against Montreal, and the first period has hit in 4 of the last 6. First, the issue with Carolina, too, Jim, they've had a lot of road games. This is only going to be their 15th home game. They're 9-3-3. Quickly looked up those numbers there. So they're going to have a lot more home games to finish off the second half of the year, which is just like Jimmy said, they're a great home team. It's when you're going to want to back them, especially their penalty kill. In this game, though, Montreal with the rest, I think they're going to have a chance here, Jim. First period, I lean to them first period here, guys, especially at like a plus 175, 180 number. Just kind of get Carolina here on the early back-to-back, coming back home after playing in Nashville. And then the issue with Ranta too, guys, he had 2 starts in the AHL with Chicago, looked all right, 1-0-1. But he's a goalie. I gotta see a lot more to trust him playing in the NHL and the speed of the NHL. It's just night and day for these goalies. So even though he's a veteran, I still think his numbers are not the strongest, guys. It's tough to trust Ranta right now. So look for Caulfield, I think, to do well here. Caulfield at a 4-game point streak, Jimmy, going into the break. If this team's going to win, it's going to start with Caulfield. So where we're going to look here, guys, the goaltender on the other side too, Primo, Jim. You want to bring up Primo's numbers. He's actually been really strong on the road. 4-0 I have here, .939 save percentage. He's really starting to – the more starts this guy's had under his belt, the better he's actually looked. AHL goalie for the last few years. And Montreal too, Jimmy, they're 8-4-3 on the road. So they actually have a pretty strong road record. Surprisingly, the team didn't have a lot of expectations coming into the year. So I think Montreal can score. I'm just worried about, Carolina late. They're a completely healthy team now too. So you got to look out for them. Both penalty minutes too, 115. This Carolina team is really smart. Not going to take many penalties too at home. So if Montreal is going to score, it's going to have to be somewhat 5-on-5. I can see like a 4-2 final here. I'm going to take the over 5.5 and Caulfield guys to score points. It's going to be plus 125. I just see Montreal being able to keep up with this team in this game. With Ranta being in net too. And this is a chance for Montreal guys, in my opinion. So I wouldn't talk anyone off the Habs tonight, but I think there'll be some goals, especially late in this game. And give me Caulfield to get a point, guys. Tie the the over 5.5 and Caulfield to score a point. It's going to be plus 125, Jimmy.
You are locked in, my friend. Over 5.5 and Caulfield for a point. Slatsy talking about how Habs practiced hard in Raleigh. Should be ready to go. We also heard from Slatsy that the Canes are 9-1 their last 10 versus the Habs. Not on my card today. So we move on. Next up for what did I do with the? Oh, here we go. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, the Philadelphia Flyers, 18-11-4, 10-4-3 on the road. The Vancouver Canucks, 23-9-3, 13-3-1 at home. Rogers Arena in Vancouver, BC. Samuel Urson in between the pipes, 8-4-2, 2.56 goals against average, 8.99 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Thatcher Demko on the other side, 17-7-1, 2.46 goals against average, 9.17 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Philadelphia, I'll scream it from the top of the mountain. They're overvalued in the marketplace. They're not that good. Now, they have a bunch of dependable forwards. They have size, and they have, some 5'8", 5'9" snipers, but they have a lot of 6'4" bangers. Torts creates an accountable group. But this team won't be able to score the big goal on the power play. They have a 10.6% power play. It's not very good. And despite their defensive acumen, their ability to win faceoffs, they do a lot of the little things right. They have an 85.7% penalty kill. Yeah. They are just completely overvalued, and I will be fading them nonstop. Absolutely nonstop. I do not believe they're as good as their record indicates. This total is at 6. It is opened at 6.5. It's dropped 6, up 6.5, dropped 6. I mean, we're talking the team that came out of Christmas, not including the games yesterday, but came out of Christmas as the number 1 team in the National Hockey League, who are 13-3-1 at home. And you're giving us a -1 that's plus money. I mean, it's absolutely ludicrus. But I don't care. And again, every time I fade Philly, I get messages. I think you're making a mistake. I'm leaning Philly. All this stuff. I don't care.
Really faithful.
No, and Philly is impressed and made so many people so much money. That's the best spot in the world when you don't believe in a team that's made everybody all this money. You're just going to be set up to cash. I got in at a really nice spot. I got in when the Canucks were -153, so I got a plus 102 -1. They're bouncing all over the place. They're at -157 right now. Look, if I was judging this from a market standpoint alone, I'm not even going to look at where the cash is, but I would say, well, this is a fishy line. Philadelphia must be live. Maybe they are live, and maybe they go into Vancouver and beat Vancouver off a break, but it's not Gabby Boudreau who's telling jokes in the dressing room. It's Rick Tocchet, who's benched Kuzmenko and will bench anybody if they don't show intensity. Why do you think this team went, 8 straight wins at the beginning of the year? They were in the best shape of their lives because they're scared of Rick Tocchet. So, shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. Big shout out. He dropped his whole Gulfstream card. Now he's dropped his whole Aqueduct card. What a guy. We love you, man.
Okay.
So, look, Vancouver's power play is at 24.2%. It's not the top 3 power play that I expected it to be. They're better than that. That will go up. Their penalty killing has improved enormously as soon as Tocchet became the coach. The Flyers have been off since Friday, December 22nd. Now, Torts will have them ready to go. And how could you not be ready to go when you go to Rogers Arena? It's sold out, and you're facing a team that's 13-3-1 at home. So I get it that they'll be ready to go. The Canucks have been off since Saturday, December 23rd. Tocchet will scare the shit out of them and make sure they're ready to go. They come in off their 3rd win in 4 games, 7-4 at home over the Sharks. And one thing that just isn't talked about enough, people talk about the Canucks. They talk about how incredible Quinn Hughes has been, and I get it. When they talk about forwards, Elias Pettersson comes up first, and he shouldn't. JT Miller should be a finalist for the Hart Trophy this year. He is the most important player on the Vancouver Canucks. He's the most important forward. He's physical. He scores. He's everything that we could possibly dream of. And he should be talked about before anybody. And anybody who watches the Canucks every game, and I have friends that, that don't miss a second of it. And all they talk about is, are you watching JT Miller? Have you seen what JT Miller's doing? And no one else in the industry seems to be talking about it. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Flyers, Canucks.
Yeah, it's Stephen G. Never fade Torts. It's 2 good coaches here. 2 coaches that are very similar, I think, Jimmy, and how they coach. Except you got the Canucks, who are one of the hottest teams in the league, better goaltending too. So I wouldn't talk anyone on Vancouver here. I just think it's going to be a tighter game. I know Erson's going in net there, Erson, whatever you want to call him. 3-1-1, 921 save percentage last 5 games. And then on the road, he's 5-1-1, 909. So they've been getting a lot of wins actually on the road. 10-4-3, the Flyers are too. Actually, surprisingly, a really strong road team. But they do have a back-to-back tomorrow against Seattle. So that's why Erson's going tonight, and it's going to be Hart going tomorrow. I actually thought Hart was going to go today, but Erson's going to be going. So I think it's going to be a tight game. Where I'm looking here, guys, I think with just being, they haven't played hockey in a while, since the 22nd, you said, Jim, and good goaling on their side. Demko, top 5 goalie at home in the NHL. So I think there'll be no goal here in the first 9 minutes. I played it the last yesterday, and it worked out quite well. So I'm going to go back to it today here. I'm going to do no goal, guys. First 9 minutes, 30 seconds, actually. I took it in Carolina, Nashville. There was a goal in like 9:45. So shop around. Look for that 9 minutes, 30 seconds. It's available. And that's going to be at plus 125. That was on the no goal first 9 minutes, 30 seconds. And looking at Vancouver, though, guys, Bluger, 6-game point streak from Bluger, plus 8 in those last 6 games too, Jimmy. 3rd line center, right? So they're getting production from all over the place, this Vancouver team. And goals for home road, 5-on-5 scoring. Both of these teams are pretty high scoring, actually. 44 goals for Philly on the road, 45 for Vancouver at home, just 22 against, though, and then 31 against for the Flyers. So I think it's going to be a tight game. The power play, like you said, has been just stagnant for Philadelphia. So they're going to have to score 5-on-5, which they have been. But start off this game, I don't see it being a lot of goals early here. And but as the game goes on, we'll see what happens. Just this Flyers team, until they start losing, I'm going to stay off the side here, guys. I would lean to the full game under as well, though. But first period under, no goal, first 9 minutes is where I'm going to look. One issue too, Jimmy, with the Flyers is they take a lot of penalties, though. 222 penalty minutes on the road. That's up there with the worst in the league. And you're going up against a 24% power play, even though they do have a 85% penalty kill, which does help. But they're going to have to stay out of the box, or they're probably going to be losing this game.
A great breakdown. The no goal in the first period scares me when teams haven't played in 4 or 5 days, but you got it yesterday with the Canes and Preds.
And these coaches, too, I think they'll be ready.
I agree. I agree that they will be ready. It's just tough after a break, but get that cash. Canucks -1. That's the only bet I made on the entire card right now. And this shouldn't be here. This is a mistake in the market. And we have guys saying, can't fade Torts. Well, this will be my 3rd game in a row fading him. And I will keep fading him because this this team wasn't supposed to make. This was supposed to be a bottom 5 team in the NHL. They're 18-11-4, making everybody so much money. People are blinded by the cash that they've made. They're not that good. Let's move on. 10 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Kings at Vegas Golden Knights. We're at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Cam Talbot versus Yuri Patera. Talbot 14-6-2, 2.06 goals against average, 925 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Patera 1-2-0, 3.98 goals against average, 897 save percentage. You know, I thought he played a really good first period, and when we were heads up against each other in that Lightning Vegas spot, it was the 2 penalties, which, you know, Pietrangelo flipped it over the glass to give him a 5-on-3 in the second period, and then things fell apart. I thought Vegas was the better team. They lose 5-4. You know, they allow 3 power play goals. You can't do that. But we know what Cucci's been doing on the power play. Kings power play at 20%, Vegas 22.5%, Kings penalty killing 86.6%. This is whom I think the LA Kings are the best team in the NHL. I don't know a team right now, and I went through them all thinking about it last night, that could beat them in a 7-game series right now. I think the Kings are the best team in the NHL. Now, things can change and injuries can play a role. We have Vegas right now sitting at minus 102. The Kings have gone from plus 105 to minus 108, a huge move towards these Kings. So, you know, the market expecting Vegas to keep losing, you know. And when I heard, you know, a lot of people moving on the Knights to win the cup and doing it again, you know, when they went on that big streak off the top of the year. And it just, you know, it's just a vividness bias and a recency bias. They're not the best team in the NHL, and every time you win, the contracts for everybody go up, and it becomes more and more difficult to keep a team together. This total's gone from 6.5 down to 6 and back to 6.5. So we've had a very slight move to that over 6.5 here. BJ, you are destroying right now. I will copy and paste. You just constantly, not just right now, you just destroy nonstop. Nice. Absolutely magic. Best bet on Rutgers money line. We're going to talk about that. Steve G leaning to the Kings today. So both teams are on the second half back-to-back after each faced vastly different experiences last night. The Kings won their second straight game, 5-1 at home over the Sharks. They outshot the Sharks 43-25. They won easily 5-1. And this team has everything: size, toughness, skill, defense, and for now, goaltending. Do we see a world in the playoffs where Cam Talbot falls apart? It's possible. You know, it's possible, but for now, goaltending. The Knights coming off their 4th straight loss, 5-2 at Anaheim last night. They were down 4-0 after the first period, and they're not getting goaltending. They've allowed 20 goals over this 4-game skid, and they're counting down the days before they get Aiden Hill and Shea Theodore back, and it could be any moment where they get them back. I am not going to fade the Golden Knights.
I get it.
On this losing streak. I know the Kings want to beat them so badly. They want to anoint themselves as the best team in the Western Conference. And to do that, you got to keep beating the Stanley Cup champions in their barn. They've already done it once. But I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. If I had a free bet, probably I'd do it. But I'm not doing it. And I do think that these teams will play a playoff-type hockey game. The problem is there's just not playoff-type goaltending for the Knights, which is going to force them to score goals. So in any other situation, I imagine I'd be on the under 6.5. But I can't even do that here. Now, first period under maybe, because you know it's going to be intense off the hop. But I love the Canucks. Why get in the way of what I think very confidently is going to cash by adding something where I'm, you know. Take it away for us here, Gogster. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, Patera, I was saying the last show, it's tough for goalies in the AHL when they come right up. I find it just the speed of the game. He's had one home start. It was against San Jose. That was his first game. He allowed 4, 39-35. Other than that, he had 10-10 against Carolina, but he's allowed at least 4 goals in 3 games. So I do agree. They do need some goaltending. Hill needs to come back. Talbot, stellar performance his last, 11 games, 10-1, 950 save percentage, almost unbelievable. Only 19 goals against, 5-on-5 to this LA Kings team. But I looked at this lineup, Jim, for the Golden Knights. You got William Karlsson centering the third line. Like they're deeper than they've ever been. I've found here. And then you got Paul Cotter, who's finally on the third line. They're not mixing up the lines, I find, as much. Pavel Dorofeyev, I'm butchering his name, but this guy had a really good game last time out. Pretty big player for Henderson as well, from what I remember. So I think it's going to be a really tight game. I do. I took a first period draw, guys, short and sweet. That's where I got 2 plays on this game. I feel stronger actually on first period draw, and that was at, what was it, plus 175. Both teams coming off a back-to-back. It's going to be a really tight game, in my opinion. I know I don't trust Thur maybe for a full 60 minutes, but for 20 minutes at home, coming off a really bad performance there at Anaheim, I look for this to be a tighter game. I don't mind the no goal again here, but I'm taking the draw, plus 175. And then I just think the Kings, I think they can get them here. I don't feel as strong on this one. I think it's going to be a really tight game. You know, overtime can even be live here. Penalty minutes, both under 153, 140. That's just 2 teams that are coached well right there. So this is going to be a tight game. First period draw, plus 175. And I've already tweeted out and I've already bet it, but I don't feel as strong on this one, guys. I took LA Kings money line minus 106. I do think they get it done, and the number's not too crazy. So that's where we're looking at in this game.
God, things are going to heat up, man. Getting into that stretch run for the cup. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I like your action here. I'm off of it, though. I'm keeping everything real clean. Let's move on to the final spot on the board. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Edmonton Oilers 15-15-1, 6-9-0 on the road at San Jose Sharks. We're at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Stuart Skinner 12-9-1, 3.04 goals against average, 886 save percentage in the shutout. Mac Blackwood 3.92 goals against average, 889 save percentage. He's not being too bad. He's just never going to be the goalie that we thought he was going to be when he was, a kid. Edmonton power play 26.2%. It's improving slowly. Penalty killing at 78%, much better than it was last year. San Jose power play at 20.2%, a little higher than any of us expected it to be. 72.9% penalty killing. You know, they're actually playing okay with all these injuries. They don't have McDonald or Carpenter on the back end. They already lost Benning and Emberson, so they're down 4 defensemen, and they don't have a ton of depth in that spot. Logan Couture is still out. They need him back badly, and now Nico Sturm out too. Coming into the year. Sorry?
Day-to-day. I got Giovanni Smith day-to-day too.
Yeah, a winger as well. Yeah. And Mackenzie Blackwood's been sick. We think that he's better now, but who knows if he's even going to be in.
Jim, okay. That's crazy. That's crazy, guys. Kakinen was in net last night, 43 of 38, I think it was. Just got lit up. And now he's got to play again against the Edmonton Oilers. Like, you can't have a tougher spot, I think, for a goalie than tonight.
They like it, though, if you ask them.
Yeah,
there's times where they don't, but coming off a break, they like it.
I don't mind it when it's like if the shots on goal, maybe under 30 shots on goal, there's just a lot of movement was going on, saving 42 shots on net there. So I hear you. I just think I couldn't believe it when I saw that illness must be pretty bad for Blackwood. He hasn't been good though at all. Sorry to take that over, Jim.
No, that's important stuff. Nate Dogg looking at the over in this one says McDavid and Kane to score and assists for each. So this total here is at 7, minus 126 to the under. I don't think the Sharks want to get into a goal fight with the Oilers. They need to play really tight and really defensive. We're sitting here with the Oilers at minus 415. They opened up minus 342. 73 cents of movement is nuts.
It is.
These two teams are also on very different rest situations. Oilers have been off since Friday, December 22nd. They were last seen finishing off a 3-game Eastern swing with wins over the Devils and the Rangers. That Devils was a best bet spot. I stayed off that Rangers-Oilers spot. Sharks on the second half, back-to-back after losing their 6th straight game, 5-1 the Kings last night. They've been outscored 28-10 over those 6 games, and just a litany of injuries. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Final game on the board, Oilers-Sharks.
Yeah, short and sweet. I was saying with the goalies, guys, I think it's a tough spot for Kakinen, really tough spot. This spot for the Oilers is going to be live. Skinner's okay, 869 last 5 games. Good spot for him. Too many injuries. They also lost 3-2 at San Jose November the 9th. So you got a revenge factor too. And this is a big one for me, McDavid, guys. So what I did is I took Edmonton money line, but we got McDavid. Where is it? Here it is. 16 goals in 28 games, 23 assists, plus 16 against the San Jose Sharks in his career. And he didn't score last time out. Look for McDavid to score a goal here. Tough spot for the goalie. He's lit this team up in his career, and it's a good chance to do it tonight, I think, guys, coming off the break. So McDavid to score a goal. I think it's minus 120. Tie it in with the money line. It's actually plus 110. So to cap the card off, guys, we got plus 110 money line on the Oilers, and then McDavid to net a Gino.
You got it locked down. So Gogster's on the Habs, Canes over 5.5, and Caulfield for a half or over Caulfield for a point at plus 125. BJ, much love, man. Respect. I've got both of your games copied and pasted. We'll share it when we break them down. Thank you for taking the time to get in here. And just respect, man. Everybody's watching you crush, man. It's fun to watch. Philly, Vancouver, no goal. First 9 minutes, 30 seconds for Gogster, plus 125. I'm on the Canucks -1 with confidence. Can't wait to watch that game tonight. Kings, and you guys know I've barely bet Vancouver this year. I'll go over it, but I don't. I've left a lot of money on the table, not backing them. Kings money line -106. Kings Vegas first period draw plus 175. And I do know it's an issue because I've not bet once all year on the San Francisco 49ers, and I don't think I've bet once all year on the Canucks. I might have made one bet on them. I don't think that's the right way to handle your best teams, but I only look to fade them. Just because they're so overvalued in the marketplace. Now, the Canucks aren't quite there, but in the beginning of the year, I felt that they were, and now it's kind of, legitimate. Vegas, Kings first period draw for Gogster and Kings money line, and then Oilers money line, McDavid anytime goal. Kong's Clip says, Gogster, what do you think about McDavid's first goal at plus 800? Well, if he's on a goal for McDavid, then he probably likes that one. But
yeah, that's worth a sprinkle tonight, I think, brother.
All right, let's get into NFL. So we've talked about how great we've been in certain sports here, but not in NFL. Pretty ugly records for both of us that need to be rectified. Let's get into this right now. 8:15 p.m. Eastern. The New York Jets 6-9, 2-4 on the road at Cleveland Browns 10-5, 7-1 at home. We're at Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Swiggy, our pleasure, my man. 44 Fahrenheit, cloudy, and 5-mile-per-hour winds. Now, there's a bunch of sites, and I went on 3 or 4 that say it's going to be raining lightly at kickoff and throughout the game. Yeah. The main ones say it's not going to be. So I don't think it's a big deal because there's not much wind, but there could be light rain to start the game or throughout the game. Not entirely sure at this point. Let's get into the line history here. Now, I had a plan for this game, and the main plan centered around the over in this football game. When I went to bet it, Pinnacle dropped it while I was going to bet it. It's like, okay, well, why don't I wait? Now, I also wanted the Browns at 7, but just the fact that Pinnacle was dropping the total and I had a whole bunch of action, I just kind of sat back. Now, this is now a 7.5. It is a 7.5, at a -101. So you can still pay for the 7 if you really want it. And then from a total scenario, it just kept dropping. And it's still dropping. God, thank God I didn't move on it. Jesus. Yeah. Pinnacle's now moved it to 33.5. I think that's too low, but I'm not going to step in front of this monstrous move. It's just too big of a move. You have 32% of the tickets and 41% of the cash on the Jets. It's moved to 7.5, which is a sign of force for the favorite, even though there's some bigger bets being placed on the Jets. And then there's 62% of tickets and 72% cash on the under, which didn't really work for me here. So Troy Torrance says Browns are winning this game by 6 or by 18. Browns win this game 92% of the time. Yeah. And North Ender says Thursday Night Football 8 overs in a row. Bo Jackson saying Stefanski 3-0 on Thursdays. And Saturated, no, we can't call this a bum fight bowl, man. The Browns are 10-5 and 7-1 at home. It's a well-dressed homeless bum right there. So let's set this up here. Jets come in off their second win in 3 games, 30-28 at home over the Commanders. It was ugly. Zerline's being spectacular, but the coaching mistakes, and Troy hammered it on our breakdown, which is up on our YouTube page right now. Simeon dropped back to pass 50 times. I mean, I don't know exactly what the plan was. They did outgain the Commanders 381 to 245, but is that saying that much? Breece Hall coming off a monster game. He's had some difficulty following up monster games this year. He didn't last year. I know he was only a short little 7 or 8 game season for him. Garrett Wilson caught 9 for 76. This is the worst team in the league on third down. This is the worst team in the league in the red zone. You have to, and by far in a way, I mean, we're talking by like almost 10%, the worst red zone team in the league. And then you have to look for where are they good. Well, they're 6th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns defensively in the red zone, just 48.9% of the time. They're just a middling third down defense. And the Browns have magic going on right now with Flacco. I mean, Cooper just caught for 265 yards. I mean, that's the most of any receiver this year in the league. The running game does very little, and it forces Flacco to have to air it out. We talk about how good Flacco's been, but on third down, they're horrific with Flacco. They're converting 28% of third downs. So yeah, he's been magic, late in games, but still, we're remembering the 10 touchdowns in 4 games. We're not talking about the 7 interceptions and the fact that he's thrown for over 300 yards in 3 straight games. Look, it's very impressive, and I really like him. I didn't like him at all. I didn't care much about him. I was a Niners fan, and I didn't care, but I love what he's done here, and he's been great in the red zone. 60% over the last 3 games. This pass rush is strong, and this is the best third down defense in the league that gets even better at home. At home, they allow conversions just 23.2% of the time. So I get now why this has moved so hard to the under. You have a Browns team that won't allow third down conversions against the worst third down offense in the league. So how are the Jets going to move the ball? Well, the answer is they're not. I just told you that Flacco's third downs is worse than the average for the Browns, which is horrible all year. And now they have a bottom 3 third down offense in the league with Flacco. So they're not going to be moving the ball with ease. They can't run the ball. And we know with Sauce and the Jets secondary that they're very, very strong. So now I'm starting to see it here. Also, this offensive line is so banged up. I mean, we're talking so banged up for these Browns, and then they lose Dustin Hopkins and Corey Barocas. So, they've had to sign cast-offs to kick here this week. And then, Ethan Pocic, their center, Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio, 2 great guards, offensive tackle, Christian. Then they've already lost Jedrick Wills, DeJuan Jones, and Jack Conklin for the season. So I get it now. And I'm thankful for focusing on Pinnacle's market moves to keep me off of a spot. Maybe it would have cashed, but it's kept me off of a spot. Much love, Razor. We will talk about all of your action in the horses, and we will cheer you on from afar, my man. Respect and love. So take it away here for us. I had planned on doubling up in this game. I had planned on the Browns -7 and the over. At that point, I think it was 35.5. It might even be 36. And now I've got no action in the game. Take it away for us here. Gogster, your thoughts on the Thursday nighter.
Yeah, another thing that's going to hurt the total, I think, Jim, is just the weather. The rain you're bringing up too. Actually up to date now. It says, the rain's going to stop. It says of 6 p.m. accurate weather there at the game. But the winds are going to pick up as the game goes on, guys. 17 kilometers. So that's, I don't get the miles per hour, but that's quite a bit. 20, and it goes up to 21 by 11 o'clock p.m. So the winds are going to get worse in this game. So the Jets, I don't know how they're going to score. It's going to be really tough because you brought it up there. Number 1 at home in third down percentage conversion. And then looking at the Jets there, Jim, you're saying how bad Flacco was. The Jets are 5th on the road at allowing third down conversions in the NFL. So these defenses are going to, I have my notes here, guys. They're going to thrive tonight, especially passing too. Yards per catch there. The Jets are 3rd yards per catch. The Browns are 2nd defensively. And then offensively, Jim, you brought it up for these Jets. They got problems. Last in the NFL too with 19 touchdowns, 27th ranked, both offense and rushing and yards. It's going to have to be a Priest Hall. That's going to be the only way I think he gets this team gets some points. He had 20 carries, 85 against Washington, guys who were the 26th ranked rushing defense yards per game. And then a strong defense, 5th ranked Miami. This guy was only able to get 12 yards. They were down the whole game, so they weren't able to run much. But I expect this game to be a lot of clocks going to be chewed up in this game, guys. Browns, 18th ranked offense. Passing, 11th in rushing. And then looking at the defense for the Browns, Jimmy, rushing wise, they are 12th. So there's a bit of leeway, I think, for the Jets and Priest Hall being a top running back in this league, in my opinion, to hit at least 40 yards in here, guys. So, and then looking on the other side, the running back for the Browns, guys, Jerome Ford, they got a couple of them, as you guys know, Kareem Hunt too. But Jerome Ford, 15 carries, only 25 yards, then 8 carries for 20 yards his last 2 games. That was against Houston, Jim, and Chicago, ranked 2nd and 3rd yards per carry rushing. So he was going up against a real tough line there in defense in those 2 teams. Now you're going up against the Jets, who passing-wise, both these teams are top 3, but 11th rushing yards per carry, the Jets are. So there's a bit of leeway, I think, too, there for Jerome Ford. And with the wins, And the interceptions too from these quarterbacks, it's going to have to be a running style game. So Priest Hall and Jerome Ford both to get 40 yards, Jim, plus 102. We have a same game parlay as well. I think the Jets are going to be able to keep this close. The defense is going to keep them in this game, I think, guys. I don't think it's going to get too high scoring. So Jets plus 13.5, the full game under 44.5. And then Priest Hall and Jerome Ford just to hit over 25 yards. So it's kind of like a safe play, as Loshak likes to say. And that's at plus 125. I can go over that again, Jim. And then I also have Priest Hall, guys, to score a touchdown. I saw it at plus 205. I got plus 195. Priest Hall to score anytime touchdown. There's a guy that's going to score on this team. And with these conditions tonight, I think it's going to be they're going to be running the ball. And also the Browns, they have allowed some rushing touchdowns on the ground. That's where they're going to score. So take that nice number, guys, plus 195, Priest Hall anytime TD. And I even sprinkle a little bit on this, guys. Looking at the numbers of interceptions, Jim, Simeon's had 3 interceptions last 2 games. And then you're bringing up Flacco. He's had 5 interceptions in his last 5 games. And these are 2 top tier defenses with 2 weaker, Flacco's been playing pretty good, but weaker quarterbacks for the most part. Both QBs, guys, will throw an interception too in these bad conditions, plus 126. That's 4 plays on the card.
I like it, man. I like it. So the SGP Jets plus 13.5, under 44.5. Breece Hall and Jerome Ford over 25 each rushing yards. That's at plus 125. Breece Hall and Ford over 40 rushing yards is plus 102. Both quarterbacks to throw a pick at plus 126, and Breece Hall anytime touchdown plus 195. It's a good looking card. It's a good looking card that you have there. At this point, I can understand Troy saying that it's imperative, a necessity to have a teaser with the Browns here this evening. There's our guy Dutch Boy, fresh, coming off a very, very strong night in NBA. And Dan Kelly says Flacco won't be throwing much. Stefanski will be fine with just the defense scoring. And JP just says, I was going to say offenses will struggle, but sounds like we might see defense scoring tonight. Markel looking at the field goal world. Well, the problem there is, you don't have Hopkins for the Browns, and we have different things. I've looked at 3 different sites. So, I mentioned that with the rain, that every site was saying different things. I have sites that think the wind's going to be very calm. So it's the weather's a little confusing. You kind of have to get closer to the game, but I like your action at this point. I'm full of action on the NFL card. I've got 11 bets on the card right now, and I might not move on this anymore. I might just look to get in live on the Browns. I think that's probably my MO at this point, would just be to get in live on the Browns. That will be my plan at this point. But I like your action
too, Jim. I think Peasy's onto something there with the defensive touchdown possibly in this game. Top defenses, coming off short rest too for the offenses. I'm trying to just look up like an accurate weather report here too again on this game here. But because the wind is huge, I do think there's going to be winds here. I love my weather actually, Jim. Weird little stat, but Gogster loves doing little weather stats here. So looking at the wind here, don't want to hum and haw too much here, Jim. But let's just see here, 8 p.m. They're saying so they're actually saying 6 miles an hour here, coming from out of the south. So maybe that is a little bit high for that 17 kilometer. Yeah, I agree there with the 6 miles an hour. I agree more so with your report than mine.
And Troy Torrance says he'll have $3K on the sideline to live bet the Jets, even though he thinks that, wow, that's wild that the Browns must be used. That's wild, Troy. Did not expect that. Dutch Boy, fresh with the Pelicanos first half and full game. There you go. To fade the Jets. Okay, sorry. That was
I was gonna say there's no way.
I was shocked. I was like, what the hell? Okay, says my bad. To fade the Jets. Okay, so he's gonna go heavy at that. Yeah, I'm ready if the Jets can score first, if Simeon can do something. But great stuff, Gogster. Excellent work in NHL last week. I was very excited to see it. We're both in the black now, double-digit units. We both got to get up to double-digit units. That's our goal. Double-digit units. So all we think about is double-digit units. And then we got to get our NFL record better. And I like your action here. Please follow Gogster on X at EGO47_. You can catch him every Tuesday on the Peter Loshak Show and every Thursday right here on Betting with the Bag. And, of course, you can catch him in San Antonio for Pubba Palooza 3. And can you do our poker tournament, or are you working Friday night?
Unfortunately, I'm working Friday night, guys. Okay. It's a weird schedule, but Palapalooza, can't wait, counting them down. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, golf. Golf starting up again, guys, next week. So look out for some golf picks. Follow me there. I'll have some golf action for you, too.
I love it. I love it, Gogster. Much love, my friend. We will be in touch very soon. There he is, Mr. Gogster from beautiful Belleville, Ontario. The snow covering the needles and the cigarette butts. Let's move on. Let's move on to college basketball. We're going to start with college basketball, then go into college football, and then back with college basketball. So we're going to start with 2 games from Daby Cab, and then we're going to go into the 3 bowl games that are left to be capped with Dave Rogers and Daby Cab, and then we close up shop with 4 spots on Dave Rogers NCAA basketball card. We have our guy, Daby Cab, with a simply spectacular record here on the show to start off the year. He's 20 wins and 9 losses, hitting at 69%. He's plus 10.38 units ROI, plus 35.79% average line, minus 110. So together, we're 42 and 17, up 23 units, 23 and a half units. Things are running nice. Our volume is down and our winning is up. Let's keep that shit going, man. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, star of Medicate Mondays, star of our brand new All About Hoops show, live betting NBA and college basketball show on Wednesday nights, and also star of our Saturday college basketball live stream. We have made the executive decision to move to the Peach Bowl. We made the decision to move for the Penn State Ole Miss game on Saturday. So we are making the move for that live stream this Saturday. It's going to be college football instead of college basketball. There's no good games of college basketball at noon. There's only the Creighton game, Creighton Marquette at 2 p.m. That's the only real good one on all of Saturday's card. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, Daby Cab to the show. Daby Cab, how are you, my friend?
Good, Jimmy, good. Hey, I saw something that said the host muted my mic in the top corner. You guys been pulling my leg, haven't y'all?
I know we have not. I've never touched. I'm not entirely sure.
That must have been Jose. Jimmy, I love the sound of that record. You said plus 20-something units combined.
Yeah, man.
But we're just getting started. We got a lot of college basketball left, and we're going to keep rolling. This is going to be the new norm for when we cap college basketball. Low volume, big wins.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's get right to work here. I'm going to have to set up a couple of things. Why don't you just touch on the Ole Miss Penn State game that you're doing on Saturday quickly while I set up the college basketball?
Oh, yeah. There's some good college basketball games Saturday, but the early morning slate, when we've been going live at 11 a.m., 11 Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, there's not very many games. So we're going to do the bowl game. We'll still talk about the college basketball games that are coming up later in the day. We're still going to have plenty of pregame bets in college basketball. So it'll still be the same thing, the same vibe. We're just going to be watching the football game, and we're going to be betting the college football bowl games. But same thing. We'll have bowl game action. We'll have college basketball action. Might have some NBA, might have some NHL. I mean, I won't have any NHL, but, CMAC might.
I love it. Well, let's get right to work. We have 2 games with Daby Cab, and then we roll with Dave Rogers. So we start at 9 p.m. Eastern. The USC Trojans 6-5, opening up their Pac-12 account, their final Pac-12 account at the Oregon Ducks 8-3. Matthew Knight Arena in Eugene, Oregon. Let's get into the line history here for this one. First, we'll start with the spread. We'll go over to Bet Online for the market moves. Don't forget about our Bet Online poker tournament this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and going to be a lot of fun. Bounties on $50 bounties on Slaughter and myself, $25 bounty on Joseph Thompson. There may be other bounties coming up from different cappers who are willing to shell out if they get knocked out, which is very cool. And we're really excited about it. We'll have the accompanied live stream. Jose and I will be hosting at 7:45. That's this Friday. We're a little over 32, or we're 32 hours away from popping off. So here, USC opening up at +2. They got up to +3. They're right now at +2.5. So that's what we're dealing with from a side perspective. From a total look, we have, move over here. We're sitting at a 150.5. This opened up at 148.5 and has climbed up to 150.5. So we have a 2-point move to the over and a slight move towards the Ducks. We take a look at the cash flow for this one. And again, we're going to talk about this game as well with Dave Rogers. 75% of the tickets and 85% of the cash is on the Ducks. So that's the move towards them. It's not been a huge move, but it's been a move. Then you have 71% of tickets on the over, but just 41% of cash, and yet this has gone towards the over. So here we go. We have USC has been off now for 9 days. We last saw them snapping their pretty ugly 3-game losing streak, which included a loss at home to Long Beach State in overtime. They had to play Alcorn State, and they win. Alabama State. Alabama State, 79-59. They win by 20. They were dominating that game from the get-go, but they were 18.5-point favorites, and they barely covered. So that's a 9-day break for them. It's been a 7-day break for Oregon. They bounced back from that 20-point loss at home to Syracuse by defeating Kent State by 14 at home last Thursday. They were just 6.5-point favorites. Kent State's a good basketball team. Oregon undefeated at home. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, USC Trojans, Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, on the surface, this one, would look like an easy bet to make on Oregon, but let me tell you guys, there's 80% of the money, and I know you said the line slightly moved to Oregon, but I mean, it really hasn't moved much. I mean, I saw 2.5 last night, still 2.5. I know it went to 3, came back, but for 80+% of the cash to be on Oregon and Oregon being at home, I would pump the brakes a little bit. Pay attention to what the line's telling you here. The Ducks, they have plenty of talent in their program, but that talent's on the side right now. Dante is still out. He hurt his hamstring in the first game of the season. I don't think he's expected back until mid-January. Biddle, their 7-foot big man down low for the Ducks. He's only played 3 games this year. He suffered the season-ending wrist injury. So they've been, without these pieces for a while, but who you're playing and where you're getting your wins. We talked about that with the Oklahoma game. Oregon does have a win over Michigan. That's a good win. They've played some better teams than I'd say Oklahoma has. But I really think they're going to be struggling to find a way to keep up with the guard play with Ellis here. Ellis went down in USC's last game. He had the hip injury, but he's had plenty of time to rest. You touched on it. Sometimes rest can be a bad thing. Sometimes it can be a good thing. I think USC needed to regroup. For a 6-5 team, they have a bunch of talent throughout this lineup. You've got Collier, he's going to be a future pro player. You've got Ellis. He's just an absolutely outstanding high-scoring guard. They're still finding a role for Bronny James right now. And Oregon, like I said, they're just losing pieces. And they're having to throw freshmen in the mix and just kind of hoping for the best. They've already lost their 2 best players, and now they've got freshmen starting across the board. I think this is the perfect get-right spot for USC. This is a USC team that came into Oregon and lost last year. I think they're going to be able to, for once, use a little bit of size advantage here. I think they're going to have better guard play. I laid it with USC in the first half. I got +1.5. I've already tweeted it out. I might get their full game with them too. Like I said, I just think this is a great spot for the Trojans.
USC +1.5. What was the juice?
-110. Let me double check that.
-110. USC
111.
111 -111. All right. USC first half bounce back spot expected from Daby Cab, and we're going to get to talk about this game twice. So we'll use Daby Cab's action to lead us into that spot with Dave Rogers. Let's talk about game 2 before we welcome Dave Rogers to the show and cap the 3 bowl games. Game 2 for Daby Cab, we stay on the West Coast in the great state of Oregon. We head to Corvallis, to Gill Coliseum for this one. UCLA Bruins opening up their Pac-12 account, just 5-6 on the season. Trojans just 6-5, and no one's going to Poly Pavilion right now. It's half empty and sad. Oregon State Beavers 8-3 to start off the year. By the way, in that last game, TJ asking if you think this will get to 3. I thought we saw 3s on the board here. Let's go back to it.
I told myself to watch this line, Jimmy. So that's a good question, TJ, because now, like Jimmy said, it got to 3 for a minute and then came back.
Yeah.
But I told myself, I said, if this isn't 3.5 or 4.5 tomorrow, this line is telling us everything we need to know. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I think it's very telling that the line's staying where it's at.
Very interesting. All right, let's move into this spot. Yes, North Ender, this is a 6.5, not a 3.5. No worries, though. But let's roll onto this spot here. UCLA, Oregon State at Gill Coliseum. We'll start with the line history. This is moved to 6. at a Pinnacle. Why am I on Pinnacle and not on Bet Online? That was my bad. Sorry. Let's move back to Bet Online here. So we have it sitting at 6.5. UCLA opened up at 6. It dropped to 5.5. It dropped to 5.5 yesterday morning. We're back at 6.5 now. So we have a half-point move towards the Bruins. And from a total standpoint, we are sitting at 128 flat. This opened up at 125.5 and has only climbed. Well, it did. There was a half point of buyback, but that's a big move there. From a cash perspective here, we have on the total 53% of the tickets and 75% of the cash on the under, and yet this has climbed. And then on the spread look, it's a 50-50 situation. 51% of the tickets, 50% of cash on Oregon State. Take it away for us here. Oh, let's set up the quick rest situation that we are dealing with. We have UCLA's been off for 6 days, 4 straight losses. Last one, Maryland at home, 69-60, but they lost to CSUN, which was a shocking situation, losing by 4. I think that was the first time in 11 years that they'd lost there. Oregon State just winning basketball games. They're running and winning and comfortably. Now the level of competition isn't that high. And when they played, they beat UTSA 66-65. They just got through there. Utah Valley, they won 74-71. They needed double overtime to get past Cal Poly. So it's not as good as it looks, but they are winning those close games. Take it away for us here, Cab. UCLA, Oregon State.
This is another one. It's always interesting seeing teams, as we get close and get into conference play, seeing the records and seeing, where people come in, because there's huge disparity in these two records. But I'm telling you right now, don't be fooled by it. Don't be fooled for a second. I know the Beavers are 8-3, but their 3 losses came against the Power 5 conference teams that they played, and all 3 of them, they got their ass beat. They lost by 21 to Nebraska. They lost by 16 to Baylor. They lost by 26 to Pittsburgh. I'm just saying, when there's a step up in competition, Oregon State does not make that step up. They have not been able to. They have not been a good team, years past, and I still don't think they're a good team. They've made some adjustments, and that's great to see. But like I said, every time they've had to step up to a Power 5 conference, they've just sucked. And this Bruins defense right here, they're as bad as the Bruins have been on offense and as strugglesome as this season has been. They're ranked 17 in points allowed this season. They're top 40 in opponents' field goal percentage. And I think they're going to control this Beavers offense. The Beavers have averaged just 62 points in games against the 3 Power 5 conference teams that they've played. And those are 3 teams that aren't going to play defense like UCLA is. Again, I know UCLA's offense has been atrocious this year, but their defense has still been the same outstanding defense that it always has. I do not see the Bruins falling for a fifth time in a row here. They got a break. They got a break that they much needed. It's not far enough into the season where they throw their hats in. They got this break. They say, hey, we're coming back to conference play. We're getting back into the prime of the season. Let's get going. So I don't think the Bruins lose here for a 5th time straight. I think they regroup here. I took the Bruins in the first half. I got 3 at -114. And I might take a 6 if I can get a 6 full game. I'm not going to lay the 6.5, but if I can get a 6, I might add that also.
Well, we can get you that at Pinnacle if you are interested, or do you want more time?
I want to sit on that I'm already on the first half. I've bet the -3 at -114 in the first half, but I'm gonna sit on this 6 for just a little bit.
Jarek White on the over 128.5 in this one. So Daby Cab is in. USC first half +1.5. UCLA first half -3 and -114. We move on to college football next. Great job by the squad yesterday. I really felt like I left money on the table, not backing Virginia Tech. I mean, that one just seemed very, very easy. I loved everybody's call. on USC. I got to that over, very, very comfortably. But and that was, that was my only look was on that. But going back to the Caps, and this, when I had I almost wish I was just focusing solely on this stuff, but Virginia Tech and West Virginia and Oklahoma State, despite the move to them, I mean, those were all just gifts. And then I get in my head jealous of taking such a worse line, but I mean, I know Texas A&M was trying to drive with a few seconds left there to get, to to tie it up with a 2-point conversion, but it was pretty easy. DC Capper on UCLA -6.5, and JP Taylor saying NC State money line today is the play. Let's bring on your next guest. He's with us for these 3 college football games alongside Daby Cab and myself, and then we will break into his 4 college basketball looks. Please welcome, he's star of the Picks from Dave YouTube channel, star of Nerd Talk every Friday on that very YouTube channel, and he hammers the live streams with us. And we have a big one, Mikey Money, hosting our Thursday night live stream here at Pub Sports Radio this evening. Please welcome, from Arizona, by way of California, Mr. Dave Rogers to the show. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Good. How many nicknames are we going to give Mike? That's got to be the 5th one.
It's the best one.
It is the best one. I like Mikey Martian, but it's
Mikey Martian's good though. Mikey Martian's good, but Mikey Money, it just kind of it works, man. It works. Let's roll. It's great to see you, Dave. How are you?
I'm good. I'm probably gonna get COVID, but that's all right.
Hey, nothing. It's it doesn't hurt anybody anymore.
Yeah.
I hope. But great to see you, man. Let's get right to work. We start at 2:15 p.m. Eastern, the Bab Boy Moore Pinstripe Bowl. We had the Yankee Stadium. We head to the Bronx for this one. Rutgers Scarlet Knights at the Miami Hurricanes, and we've heard from BJ, who's crushing his best bets here, that he is on Rutgers money line for 5 units. Coin has Rutgers money line at plus 105 in his pocket. Let's head over to the line history here for this one and discuss how we move on it. College football right here. I'm betting with the bag, and the squad was very, very good yesterday. First off, we have Miami sitting at plus 2.5, plus 2.5 at minus 105. Now they opened up at minus 3.5. We saw this yesterday. Play out in Oklahoma State, and it's happening here. Miami Hurricanes now plus 2.5, and Rutgers minus 2.5. Let's get to the total here for this one. From a total perspective, we are sitting at just moved to 41. It just moved to 41. It moved 5 minutes ago to 41. It was at 41.5. It opened at 42, so we're dropping. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this spot. On the spread, we have 73% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on Rutgers. Then on the total, we have 37% of tickets and 50% of cash on the under, and the market moving in that direction. 51 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 3 miles per hour in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. Rutgers was last seen losing their 4th straight game, 42-24 at home to Maryland. They combined to score just 46 points over those final 4 losses. They lost every game by double digits. They're scoring just 22.6 points per game this year, and Miami has a very tough defense. We'll explain the market move. It's easily explainable, but Miami's defense allows 22.1 points per game. Miami closed out the regular season by snapping their 3-game losing streak in a 45-20 win at Boston College, 13.5-point favorite, split up 532 yards of offense in the win. But there will be no Tyler Van Dyke, their starting quarterback. He was so streaky this year. There were times where he looked excellent. There were times where he looked garbage. He will be playing for Wisconsin next year. 19 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, threw for 2,703 yards. Emory Williams, also that very exciting freshman, is out with injury. So it's Ja'Cory Brown who will get the starting quarterback spot, a dual threat quarterback. We haven't seen since 2022. He hasn't played at all this year. And Miami has the running game still. That's not changed. They don't need to worry about that today. They're still going to be able to run the ball. 3 different running backs that are really strong, averaging over 5 yards a carry. And this is the 15th ranked running squad in the nation. A huge move here on Rutgers. Dave, we will start with you. Take it away. Your plan for Rutgers Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, this is very easy to me. It has a few absolute check in the box for me that are bet on, and that's Rutgers. I'm on Rutgers in this game. Whenever I see a line run through 0 in these bowl games, there's reasons why, and I know that that's actually been this bowl season that hasn't mattered. The team that it ran away from actually have been doing well, but I picked my spots well, and I'm 5-0 in the last 5 bowl games, and 2 of those situations happened. This will be the 3rd one in 3 days. So I look for that. But we also got to talk about Ja'Cory Brown. He's not the 2nd stringer. He's the 3rd stringer, and he hasn't played a snap. I saw that Wine Time said he played a lot last year. He hasn't played one single snap the entire season. Not only that, Miami's missing wide receivers and their 2 starting safeties, while Rutgers is coming in here with the only notable absence is their backup quarterback. So who gives a shit channel, right? So you got a team in Rutgers that's coming in complete. You got a team in Miami that's on their 3rd string quarterback with missing offensive and defensive components, and you have a line that ran straight through 0. So that to me is Rutgers all day, and it's inside a field goal. Hell yeah.
Rutgers for Dave Rogers. Take it away for us, Daby Cab. What's your plan here?
That makes sense to me. This one I actually stayed off of, but I mean the Scarlet Knights, Jimmy, I have a lot of problems betting a game with a 3rd string quarterback where I don't know what to expect, especially somebody like you said, he could be a dual threat. But he hasn't, like Dave said, he hasn't played a single snap all season, and now he's starting in a bowl game. I don't know what I'm going to get. So for me, that's either Rutgers or pass. Hurricanes are also missing their duo at safety, so they're missing both of those guys. So it's going to give the Scarlet Knights a chance to get their offense going. Miami was really good against the rush, though, this year, 11th. They only gave up 3.2 yards per carry. That's 12th in college football. But again, the line coming through 0, like Dave said, with the 3rd string quarterback in. For me, it would be Rutgers or pass. I don't really have a feel on the total here. I'm just going to stay off this one.
Dave Rogers on Rutgers -2.5, -107. And the best bet from BJ, Rutgers money line, 5 units on the Scarlet Knights. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 5:45 p.m. Eastern, the Poptarts Bowl, number 18th ranked NC State Wolfpack. What a year they've had, 9-3. At the number 25 ranked Kansas State Wildcats, who were good this year as well. Both teams were good this year, but a mass exodus for the Wildcats has made this a pretty wild spot. We're at the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, 60 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 4 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history for this one. This has also seen a big move. Right now, Kansas State is sitting at -2.5. They opened up at -4.5. They got down to -2. Then today they got back up to -3. There was some legit buyback. There's been legit buyback all day, but 30 minutes ago went back to 2.5. This was a 3 45 minutes ago. So it's bouncing around. K-State right now -2.5. Let's get into the total here for this one. From a total scenario, we are sitting here at a 48.5. Opened up at 48, dropped down to 47, and has been climbing in the last hour. We now have 48.5. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. You have on the total, 79% of tickets, 77% of cash on the over. We've finally seen some movement in that regard. And then 73% of tickets and 78% of cash on NC State here. NC State money line for BJ as well. NC State money line. Let me make sure I got that copied and pasted. I get why anybody would like NC State. They closed the regular season with their 5th straight win, 39-20 at home over rival North Carolina, and they dominated them. Held the ball for 40 minutes, 6 seconds, put up 504 yards of offense. And they are missing now. Kansas State is missing a ton of players. I mean, they've been hit hard here with the transfer portal. But NC State is missing their All-American linebacker, Peyton Wilson, who is very good. Now, Brendan Armstrong had a wild season. I mean, we remember when he was benched for MJ Morris. He came back and won back the job in the final 3 games of the year, and he looked really good. And then Morris hits the portal, because that's what you do now in college football. If somebody says you're not good enough, you don't fight for it. You just head to the portal. Armstrong ran for 544 yards as well, threw for 1,621. Kansas State closed out the regular season with that very disappointing 42-35 loss at home to Iowa State. It's 9.5-point favorites, and they were hammered. So Will Howard, who has annoyed me to no end, Will Howard gone. They've lost 2 key receivers. They've lost their starting safety, Kobe Savage, their edge rusher, Nate Matlack. These are big losses. This was a really strong defense this year. Now they do have DJ Giddens. So they have their backup quarterback, Avery Johnson. They have their 1,000-yard rusher, DJ Giddens, and their whole offensive line returns is playing here as well. So it's a very fascinating spot. Dave, we'll start with you on this one. Take it away for us. NC State Wolfpack, Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, so you really said a bunch about what Kansas State's missing, but I'll kind of go back to NC State first. 24th ranked defense. They are missing their all American linebacker, but only giving up 21.4 points per game. And NC State, of 12 of their games, 8 of them went under. Now, Kansas State also has a very good defense. They're 42nd ranked, but the difference with them is their totals were going over. 7 of their 12 games went over. The reason why I'm on the under in this game are the losses, not just the starting QB, not just their second leading receiver, but also their offensive coordinator is gone. And the backup quarterback, Avery Johnson, is really a run-first guy and really run-heavy guy. So it changes the dynamic of the offense, not only having a different quarterback, but a different scheme. And against a stout NC State defense, I think that Kansas State has too many issues on offense, and 47.5 is too high. Probably by at least a field goal. So I'm on the under in this game.
The under, and that's just popped up. So you're going to get a better line now. Daby Cab, what do you think of this spot? Take it away for us here. It is the Poptarts Bowl.
Yeah, the Wolfpack, they've won 2 straight road games. They've been playing well offensively. They scored 26 or more points in their last 3 games. They don't throw the ball a bunch, but they do have a good ground game. And the Wildcats, they're not great at defending the run. They gave up close to 200 rushing yards per game in their last 3 games. So I think they'll have a little bit of a hard time slowing down the Wolfpack in this game. Both you guys touched on it. The Wildcats were hit pretty hard by the transfer portal, top 2 receivers, quarterback. I lean towards the under here, and I lean towards the Wolfpack. Like I said, Wolfpack, they're pretty good against the run. They did a good job defending the pass. I always look at the last few games. Last 3 games, they held opponents to under 215 passing yards per game. They do a good job of getting to the quarterback. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which will make it hard for Kansas State here. I don't think Kansas State's going to be able to put up many points. So I would either go with the Wolfpack or the under here, and I might get to the window with both those. I got to bet in the next one, but right now I'm leaning on the under and the NC State.
Yeah, I find NC State very appealing here. Very, very appealing. We have, a couple. This is flying to the over, Dave. So we have some options. You want the under 49 at minus 105, or the under 49.5 at minus 113, or the under 50 at minus 120?
When did all this happen? The past hour-ish?
Yeah.
Well, good. All the sharps are throwing their money at it. Give me, what's the 50 at?
Minus 120.
No. Give me 49.5.
49.5 at minus 113. Under 49.5 minus 113. I find NC State very appealing here. And I expect to move on them. I understand that with the ability for Avery to run, clearly you're going to miss Peyton Wilson patrolling, the middle of the defense. But I do think that the continuity and everything just moving in the right direction for NC State, and watching them control everything against North Carolina. I know North Carolina's weak, but Lamont Williams says his max bet is Kansas money line, Kansas State money line. Imagine Lamont saying, well, that okay, well, maybe I need to sit with this for longer. If I'm going to copy and paste this, need to make sure I have conviction if I'm going to go up against Lamont, who's such a monster. He says that he loves the under. Again, though, we're having this move towards the over here late. So, okay, let me just pull everything back here after seeing Lamont on Kansas State money line. I'm going to have to sit with this a little longer. Dave Rogers on the under 49.5 at minus 113, and Cabby interested in both the under and the Wolf Pack. Let's move on to the Alamo Bowl, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. The number 14th ranked Arizona Wildcats, and what a year for Jed Fish and these Wildcats. What a surprise. 9-3 at the number 12 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. We're at the Alamo Dome, just a few steps from where our Jose Bouquet is right now. Just a few steps from where we will all be at Pubba Palooza. let's get into the line history here. We'll start with this total being a huge major drop in the total. This opened up at BetOnline at 64.5. It opened up at Pinnacle at 62.5. We're all the way down to 58.5. So that is juice to the over, but that's a huge move towards the under. From a point spread perspective here, we're sitting with Oklahoma plus 2.5. Oklahoma opened up at plus 3.5 at Pinnacle. This got to 4. Now we're talking the 5th of December. We're talking 23 days ago. And then there's been a constant move towards Arizona, or towards towards Oklahoma. They're moving now all the way down to plus 2. So there's been a move now, just a 1-point move, but passing that key 3 threshold. Let's take a look at the cash flow then on this spot. From a cash flow perspective, you have 79% of the tickets and 72% of the cash on Arizona, and yet this line's moving towards Oklahoma. Very, very interesting. Then you have 72% of the tickets on the over and 58% of cash, and yet we have this huge move towards the under. Very, very, very interesting spot. So this is an interesting spot here also because Arizona moves to the Big 12 after this game. We lose them from the pack. And then the Sooners leave the Big 12. This is the last game. They leave the Big 12, and then they head to the SEC. We talked about Fish in Arizona. They closed out their season with their 6th straight victory, 59-23 at Arizona State's 12.5-point favorites. Put up 619 yards of offense. It was very, very impressive. And Noah Fafita has been so good. I mean, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completing 73.6% of his passes. So at this point, they have Jordan Morgan, who is protecting Fafita all year, is going to be gone. But that's it. That's the only real, at this point, as far as I know, the only real star player missing from Arizona. Oklahoma was last seen winning their 3rd straight game, 69-45 at home over TCU as 11.5-point favorites. Put up 607 yards of offense, but they allowed 520. No Dylan Gabriel. No Marcus Major, their star running back. So there's their quarterback gone, their running back gone. I guess he's not their star running back. Maybe I take that back, but a piece of their running back puzzle. Then they lose 3 starting offensive linemen, Caden Green, Andrew Rame, and Tyler Guyton. They lose defensive back Key Lawrence. But, and this is a huge but, Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman are both going to be there, and they weren't sure if they were. Safety Billy Bowman, linebacker Danny Stutzman, both going to be here. And Jackson Arnold is a 5-star recruit, true freshman who wants this opportunity desperately. We'll go over to you, Daby Cab, to start out this one. The Alamo Bowl, Arizona, Oklahoma, your plan.
Yeah, that last thing you touched on, I think is important. Jackson Arnold, he only threw 24 passes all season, but he was a 5-star recruit, so a lot expected from him. And this offense was 5th nationally in yards per game. They're putting up 502.4 yards per game. The Sooners scored 43.2 points per game. That's 3rd most in the country. Obviously, Gabriel is a key takeaway from this. Your running backs are out. Walker, Major, they decided to transfer. Your offensive coordinator, right? You got 5 linemen that are out. So you're just really gutting this offense, which was their best asset here. On defense, you only have 1 major departure, right? But Oklahoma allowed 29.1 points per game, and each opponent scored at least 20 points on them. So they really aren't a great defensive team here. There's no way to trust this Oklahoma offense with all the new parts in play, even with the five-star recruited quarterback. We could see something like what happened with USC yesterday. The kid could step up and be great. It's hard to tell. That's why these bowl games are a minefield. But I just think this Wildcats offense, they've consistently put up 450 yards or more, 30-plus points per game, and they're tasked with the Sooners defense here that's just flat out struggling. The Sooners defense is allowing over 29 points per game in their past 8 games. I don't see any reason why Arizona is going to have any issue moving the ball. If they avoid turnovers, I think the Wildcats take this game. So I'll go ahead and take that line movement and go with Arizona full game here.
All right, Arizona full game. Let's hear what Dave Rogers thinks about the Alamo Bowl. Take it away.
Yeah, I don't actually have a play on this. I lean Arizona, but The problem is, and what about Dylan Gabriel going to his third school? He turned into JT Daniels. He should have never left Central
Right, he's
Florida,
going to Oregon too.
Yeah, isn't it a horrible mistake to leave UCF? UCF is a big enough school to be able to get drafted. He went to he tried to go to a Power 5 school and do all that, but look what happened. Now maybe he's the next Bo Nix. I don't know, but I lean Arizona here. But the problem is the backup quarterback for Oklahoma. Like you said, he could be a stud, and Arizona is still that team. I like Fafita, Noah Fafita. That's how you say his last name. Arizona had really sort of I knew they would improve this year. I didn't think they'd be a ranked team. But Oklahoma is that school. They are in Ohio State. They are Alabama. They are USC. Everyone sitting as a backup is a 5-star guy and would probably start at Arizona. So to me, I would lean Arizona because Arizona's coming in whole and Oklahoma isn't. Also, by the way, Oklahoma lost their offensive coordinator, so it's kind of a similar situation to the last game. But I'm not pulling the trigger. I do lean towards Arizona.
Interesting. The market to me is I got again. If I'm gonna go up against Cab, have to have real conviction, which I don't have right now. But the fact that this is moving in Oklahoma's direction is hard to comprehend.
It doesn't make any sense. They went from over a field goal, now it's inside a field goal, right?
Yeah, I mean it's telling us one thing. It's telling us that Jackson Arnold is going to have a game. I don't know if I'm going to sit back and because Daby made the important point of losing both you guys about losing the offensive coordinator,
and the offensive line too, especially because of the fact that Arizona was able to get after the quarterbacks pretty well this season.
FanDuel's down to 1.5 too. That's kind of scary to me. I still lean Arizona, but
wow. Wow, this is a lot for me to take in right now. I can understand Rutgers being backed. I mean, if we're talking about which of these quarterbacks is a market telling us going to succeed here, it's not Ja'Cory Brown. It's it's pretty clearly Jackson Arnold, for Oklahoma. And then I really like NC State, but hearing Lamont Williams on Kansas State gives me pause.
One thing, Jimmy, since we're still going in and out of this, and obviously I'm going to try and make it sound better for myself because I want to convince myself that my bet's going to win.
Sure.
But you take out the offensive linemen, you take out the running backs. We talk about quarterbacks, we talk about receivers, we talk about running backs. We don't talk about blocking a lot of when we cap, right? You've got offensive linemen missing and you've got your 2 running backs missing. I hope that Arizona is able to put the pressure on this QB, and as good as he might be, if they're able to get after him, and there's key players missing in the blocking scheme, I like to think maybe Arizona can cause some problems.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to stick with all of these a little longer here, but I find this very, very, very interesting. Great to see Rob Free back in business with us. We've missed you, man. That was fun. A very, very fun games to break down, and we crushed it yesterday with these bowl breakdowns. So let's just keep it rolling. Dave Rogers on Rutgers -2.5. BJ's best bets on Rutgers money line. Then Dave Rogers on the under 49.5 and -113. I've been planning to move on the Wolfpack. Wanted to talk it out, but hearing Lamont on Kansas money line, he's also loving the under 49.5. We've seen this late move towards the over. And then Arizona -2.5 for Cab. I find Oklahoma very appealing. And I think this last move is Stutzman and Bowman, saying that they're going to be back. I mean, basically you have these 2 studs on defense, and then Jackson Arnold, and the 3 of them are saying, okay, this is our team now. Let's go. So I'm going to need to spend a little bit more time. It's a bowl from the start. I'm not entirely sure what you're asking, Mike. Can you hit me with that question again? Great stuff, Daby Cab. Keep up the great work in college basketball. Daby Cab on USC first half +1.5 and UCLA first half -3 at -114. Great work on All About the Hoops, our new Wednesday live action, live bet stream every Wednesday night, college basketball, NBA. We didn't have much college basketball last night, but, we'll have a lot more of that. Yeah. And, of course, the Star of Medicaid Mondays. And then this Saturday, it'll be Penn State Ole Miss for Daby Cab and CMAC right after our college basketball show hosted by Jeff Nadu. Excellent work, my man. Daby Cab, please follow him on X. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Get your tickets to Pubapalooza 3. We keep saying it. Don't be sitting on the sidelines. Don't be one of those assholes that's watching the videos, seeing how much fun we had, how many bets we won. Don't see us all sitting in Southtown 101, standing up and cheering and yelling as we win our bets and wishing you were there. Get your damn tickets right now. It's not that hard. Get a ticket to San Antonio, and then we'll be there and we'll all party and make some money.
Yeah, there's no better weekend of the year. Great stuff from Daby Cab. All right, we go back to college basketball with our man, Dave Rogers. Dave, let's get right to work, but let's set up a couple things here, and then give me a second to set up my action back to college basketball. First off, we've had some looks from Cappers in the chat. A lot of people have been asking what Joseph Thompson's model is saying. By the way, $25 bounty on the head of Joseph Thompson here, which I love. His best bet is the over 130 in Coppin State, Maryland. The over 130 in Coppin State, Maryland. Then from Matty Ice, we got the taint play of the day. The taint play of the day is in, and it is Tennessee Martin plus 4.5. Shout out to our very own Matty Ice. All right, let's get into college basketball here with our guy, Dave Rogers. And we have late night action here from Dave as well. So let's get right into it. Dave begins his card with UC Santa Barbara, the Gauchos 7-3, opening up their Big West account here at the UC Davis Aggies 5-6. We're at the University Credit Union Center in Davis, California. Take a look at the situation here. We have the Gauchos in the midst of a 3-game winning streak. It's really a 2-game winning streak. They lost badly at New Mexico, beat a Div 3 college. And then Loyola Marymount, they beat by 9, and then they defeat Howard at home by 13. That was last Friday when they beat Howard. They were 9.5-point favorites, and they covered pretty comfortably. On the other side, UC Davis has, really one win of late that means anything. They're coming off a game 7 days ago where they, played a Div 3 team, but they beat Pacific, one of the weakest teams in the nation, 82-61 at Pacific. They beat them easily. Other than that, it's just losses. They lose to Nevada at Nevada by 12. They lose at home to Milwaukee by 2, and they lose by 12 to Montana. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This one is popping off at 9 p.m. We're going to use Bet Online openers and closers. So we have this opening up with Santa Barbara as -1 point favorites. This was yesterday morning. 2 hours later, this is a pick'em. 2 hours later, this is pick'em. Now we're back with UC Santa Barbara as 2-point favorites. They were 2.5-point favorites at one point about an hour ago, but it's back at 2. So we're moved towards the Gauchos. Let's take a look at the total. From a total standpoint here, we're sitting at 146. This opened up at 145.5. We've gone up a half point. And then let's get to the cash flow here for this spot. From a cash flow standpoint, 62% of the tickets and 90% of the cash is on UC Santa Barbara. 90% of the cash, that initial move was towards UC Davis, which is strange. Has there been a big enough move towards Santa Barbara? I mean, that's up for you to decide. And then we have no information on the total from a cash flow standpoint, only 1,783 tickets in. Take it away for us here, Dave Rogers, Gauchos, Aggies in Davis, California.
Yeah, I don't know why the book set the line with Davis actually as a 1-point favorite. This line went through 0. Again, something I look at. I'm not sure, but the reason why we're getting such a short line, which is beneficial for Santa Barbara, is because it started on the wrong side of 0. But really, and the Big West is a very interesting conference. But I can tell you this: nearly every year, Santa Barbara is vying for the Big West title to go to the tournament. And UC Davis is struggling to be halfway up leaderboard. Just a superior team. I mean, when you look at the obviously the record, Santa Barbara 7-3, Davis is 5-6. When you look at ATS, neither is good. 4-6 for Davis, covered 3 times out of 8 games for UC Santa Barbara. But the problem is 5 of those lines were either 9 points or higher, and anything within 3.5 or lower, they've covered. So the line is short, and it seems strange with what is a vastly superior team. But the reason why is we benefited. Big question mark why Davis was favored, but they can't. I guess they could zip the line up to UC Santa Barbara -4 or 5, but I think we're benefiting from them making a mistake, the books, where they started this game at. So I'm taking Santa Barbara, inside a 3-point possession. You're muted, I think.
Thank you. Sorry, I got some screaming in the background.
That's okay.
I'm the UC Santa Barbara for Dave Rogers. I'm the line shop for you while we set up our next game. But UC Santa Barbara Gauchos for Dave Rogers to get his card started here. 9 p.m. Eastern next up, Montana State Bobcats 5-6, opening up their Big Sky account here at the Idaho State Bengals. We're in Holt Arena for this one. Let's take a look at the situation in front of us. First off, Montana State coming off of a loss at CSUN. CSUN's been playing some good basketball. Cal State Northridge won by 12. CSUN was 4.5-point favorites, 47.7% from the field, 38.1% from 3. Montana State did not shoot well in that one. It wasn't horrible. 39.7% from the field, 24.1% from 3. It's not going to win you many basketball games. So Montana State coming off that loss, that was 6 days ago. That was last Friday. For Idaho State, they've lost 3 straight, but some decent competition. They're coming off, and they're all on the road. Their last home game, it was a win. Now, it was against Lindenwood. It's against a very weak school in Lindenwood Lions here, but a Div 1 school. And then we have losses to Oregon State. That was their last spot, that loss to Oregon State. And that was a week ago. They lose by 19 at Oregon State at the Beavers. Beavers shoot 50.9% from the field and 37.5% from 3 against them, and very little chance. Now, Oregon State was only 6.5-point favorites against Idaho State and smashed them. But Idaho State back home. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have over here and get this locked in. So we have the total sitting at 134. This opened up at 133.5 and got up to 135 and 135.5 even. 135 yesterday. 135.5 yesterday. 135 last night. Now we're sitting at 134. And from a spread perspective here, we have it sitting at. Oh shoot! Sorry, I'm gonna have to refresh that. And here we go. From a spread perspective, we are sitting at 1.5. Idaho State 1.5-point favorites. They opened up at 1.5, got to 2.5, and they're back at 1.5. Now that 1.5 is juiced. And then when we get to the cash flow for this one, we have where's Idaho State? Here we go. We have 53% of tickets and 83% of cash on the over, and then 27% of tickets and 38% of cash on Montana State. Just 27 and 38 line, not really moving. Well, it's moving in their direction. Take it away for us here, Dave. Montana State, Idaho State.
Yeah, two unremarkable programs. This isn't a game that people are looking at, to watch. It's probably one of those. I've been to Pocatello, Idaho, where Idaho State is. Never been to, we called it Holt Arena. It's probably one of those places that, the 500 or 600 fans at most. But I did find a spot in this game. Both teams have average to above average defenses. Idaho State's giving up 71 points a game. Montana State's giving up 73. So not great, but like I said, they're just on the other side of being slightly above average. But the total's too low here. If both teams are giving up over 70 points per game and they're scoring less than 70, but I think that really, even though the totals come down from 135.5, I think this is a possession too low, in my opinion. Idaho State's had 5 overs in a row, and Only one had a point total less than 134.5 or 134, and it was 133. So Idaho's been hitting this number or been in games that are hitting this number. And Montana State is 3-5 to the over. So they've had, three overs in 8 games, but their last 2 games, they flipped a switch and scored 70 points and 89 points respectively. Like I said, I think this game should be, 136, 137. I think it's a possession too low. So I'm on the over in this game, and I'm glad it's going the other way. I don't have to deal with the hook. So
let's get you that over right now. By the way, we got you a -2 for your UC Santa Barbara, a -113. Is that
Great.
Okay?
It's perfect.
Keep the hook off. And then for the total here, we are down to, so I thought I saw one. Yes, there's 134 is available. Over 134 at -110. That's available at BetOnline, at a bunch of different books. Over 134 at -110. All right, so we have. Oh, okay, good. Okay, so so we have Dave on UC Santa Barbara -2 at -113. He's on the over at 134 in Montana State, Idaho State. Now we have 2 games left on Dave's card. Next up is one that we've already set up. So that's the USC Trojans at the Oregon Ducks. We heard Daby Cab on USC first half +1.5, and it's an X's nose spot for Daby Cab, but also he liked the fact that this line was not moving towards the Ducks, because we know the Ducks have a lot of action on them here. And we'll go over that one more time for those of you who missed the breakdown. So right now at BetOnline, Oregon is juiced -2.5 at -116. They opened up at -2 at -110. They got up to -3 yesterday. So there's been a half point of buyback. It's juiced to -116 on BetOnline. Let's just take a peek at what Pinnacle is doing here. Pinnacle's a little different. Pinnacle has this at -107 for Oregon. So at Pinnacle, there has been no movement whatsoever. And yet we have 73% of the tickets and 73% of the cash on them. Fascinating spot here, Dave. We've already set it up, so why don't you take us home? Trojans, Ducks in Eugene.
Yeah, 2 teams that I watch. I went to USC, so this is always really a good game, whether it's in any sport, to tell you the truth. But Oregon is above average in just about every offensive statistical category, except for they don't shoot free throws very well. They're 308th in the country, 66.5%. We know how important that is to me, but they're covering spreads. They're 7-4 ATS, and USC is above average on offense, except for they turn the ball over a little bit too much. They're 266 in the country. So and they're 5-6 ATS, so they're underperforming. But that's really the moral of the story. And I heard Daby Cab's breakdown of this. USC is much more talented than their record shows. I mean, Boogie Ellis went to Memphis, came to USC. He's a veteran star guard, or at least a college star guard. And Isaiah Collier is going to be in the NBA. The other star guard. So their front court is awesome. They also have a Vincent, and I'm going to butcher his last name, Iwachukwu, but it's their center. He's 7'1", a dominating presence, and that's the problem for Oregon here. They're missing players, and they're missing their 2-star big men, Nafali Dante, who's 6'11", and Nate Biddle, who's 7 foot. They're starting a freshman that's 6'9" against Vincent against USC center, who's 7'1". I think they're going to have a problem both in the front court with better guard play from USC, also in the front court, and also at the post with having a less experienced, much shorter big man. So I like USC here. Ken Palm, for what it's worth, if you follow Ken Palm, actually has USC ranked 2 spots higher at 46. Oregon's at 48, and I think that's true. I just think USC, their record isn't indicative of their talent. Oh, by the way, they also play much faster than Oregon, which is a problem when you have better guards. You play faster. They're 93rd in the country at possessions per game, and Oregon's 135. I'm not sure the wrong team. I'm not sure the wrong team's favored. I just think that if USC, if a couple games in USC's past this season went a different way, USC would be favored. So I'm giving it to USC. I'm going with USC. I'm betting USC. So
USC plus 2.5 at -104. I will be joining you. I will be with you on that look. USC plus 2.5. I will be rolling with you. Daby Cabs on USC first half. I like it. I'm interested in Montana State too. That's going to take more time. So I'll figure that out after the show. But USC plus 2.5, I'm rolling with you. Let's move. And thank you, Coin. We got you UC Santa Barbara at -2, -110. And also, Rod Zawacki. Love having Rod jumping in. Rod Zawacki says he loves the under 150.5 in USC Oregon. Says the Ducks in the last 10 conference games have produced 145 points or less. USC Oregon under for our Rod Zawacki. All right, let's roll on to the final college basketball game for Dave Rogers. Before we get into NBA, speaking of NBA very quickly, it's always been our guy Darryl's goal to hit 60% against the spread. That's exactly where he's at right now to start the year. 15-10, 60% plus 4.18 units for Darryl Rice here with a major focus on first quarters. I'm looking forward to cap the card with him. I love what our experts are doing. I love working with all of these guys. And Dave, I love working with you. Let's go hammer your final game on the board here. 10 p.m. Eastern. We have the Long Beach State Beach. Shout out to DJ Big Boss, our guy from Long Beach. Also, Noli Knows representing Long Beach. Let's get into this. Cal State Fullerton Titans at home in Titan Gym in Fullerton, California. Let's set this up here. We will start with the over here. We'll start with the rest advantage here. Now, we know we're coming off the Christmas holiday, so there's not much of a rest advantage for either of these teams. This is that beauty 10 p.m. spot that I love that action. Now, I'm all over the Canucks tonight, so I'm going to have 10 p.m. action. But Long Beach State winning basketball games. Now, they have a couple games against, Div 3 college competition. That's not important, but they beat Sacramento, who are much better this year. They beat Montana State at Montana State, the Bobcats, and they won at USC. They won at USC. They played 4 games this month. They've played 2 games in the last 18 days. So they haven't played much, and there's been, a lot of rest. But we watched them beat USC as 14.5-point dogs. Long Beach State took care of business. Going up against Cal State Fullerton, who just won at home over Pacific 67-56. And we capped that game together, I believe, right? That was no, that wasn't. That was on Wednesday. Sorry, that was on Wednesday. And they were playing Fullerton playing pretty good basketball. They beat Pepperdine at Pepperdine. They beat Sacramento by 2. Then they lose at Boise State badly by 23. And it wasn't a full bounce back against Pacific here. So, and I lost. I had Cal State Fullerton first half, and that was a loser last week. So let's get into the line history here for this 10 p.m. spot. Over at BetOnline, we have Cal State Fullerton +3. They opened up at 3.5. This got down to 2 last night, and then it bounced back to 3.5 this morning. So the initial move was towards the Cal State Fullerton, and it still sort of is. They've gone from 3.5 to 3. Let's take a look at the total and then take a look at the cash flow and then hand it over to Dave Rogers here from I'm going to have to refresh that. While that's refreshing, let's pull up actually, no, it's here. It's ready. Okay, here we go. From a total standpoint, we're dealing with a 145. This opened up at 143.5. We've gone up 1.5 points. And cash flow wise for this one, we have 28% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on Cal State Fullerton. This is right in my wheelhouse. Going up against a team that was last seen in an important basketball game, beating USC. That's in everybody's minds. The quantity of action is backing them, and yet we have a line move towards Fullerton. No information on the total. I'm very interested. Jarek White on Cal State Fullerton. Take it away, Dave. What's your plan of action here in Fullerton, California?
Well, shout out to Fullerton, California. This is the area I grew up in. My niece goes to she's a Titan. She was just here for Christmas, and actually where I moved from Arizona was literally a mile down the street. So these are 2 teams I know real well, an area I know real well. Cal State Fullerton, they do a couple things notably well. They shoot free throws well. They're 66 in the country, almost 75%. And their scoring defense is above average. They only give up about 70 points per game. But really, every other statistical category they're pouring. Now, they're 4-0 at home, which I think explains the short line. But 2 of those games were against non-D1 opponents, so kind of doesn't really matter. They also play really slow, 305th in the nation at possessions per game, and they turn the ball over too much, almost 14 times per game. That's not a good combo. When you play slow and you make mistakes turning the ball over, especially if those turnovers lead to points, you can't make it up when you play slow. So that's a horrible combination as a team. But who doesn't play slow is Long Beach State. They're 27th fastest team in the nation, 73.6 possessions per game. And that is the worst. That is the perfect storm. You have a team that plays fast, that makes the other team make mistakes. That team is bad at turnovers and is slow and can't make it up. Cal State Fullerton better hope that they don't get behind because they're going to have problems. Another thing about Long Beach State is, and you have to know this conference to know, usually, and they've done really well outside of conference, usually Long Beach State goes 500 out of conference, and they get in conference and they duke out the title with Santa Barbara. That's usually what happens every year. They play really well in conference. We also left out that Long Beach State beat Michigan in Michigan. That was one that you didn't talk about. So they've clobbered some monsters. They are one of the best teams in this conference every year. The matchup is really bad with the turnovers and slow play versus the fast play. And Long Beach State is on a 5-game winning streak. I know that the big USC win, this might be like a letdown spot, but I think this is the perfect storm for Long Beach State to cover. So I have it at 2.5. I'll take it at 3. Give me the best line I can get, but I'm on the Long Beach State 49ers. They call them the beach. If you've ever been to Long Beach, you know it's not a beach, it's a bay with baby diapers floating around in it. The beach is down in Huntington Beach or Newport Beach. So it's not the beach, it's the 49ers.
Let's get you this 3. I think you then will have talked me off of Cal State Fullerton here, which is fine. But let's get you your Long Beach State Beach -3, -108. Is that the best we can give you? It is -3 at -108 for our guy Dave Rogers. LBC -3.
Another thing of note is Rod saying Fullerton has won 9 straight at Titan Gym. In this area, in this part of California, Long Beach State to Cal State Fullerton's a 30-minute drive. There are people that live in Fullerton that drive and commute to go to college in Long Beach, and probably vice versa with people in Long Beach and Cal State Fullerton. There is no home advantage here. It's too easy. It's too easy of a trek. All the fans that want to go to either of these games at either school are going to drive there. It's not a big deal.
Locked in, and we got you a -2. Coin found a -2 here over at Westgate. -2 at -110. All right, you are locked and loaded from both Dave and Daby Cab. We'll go over Dave Rogers' action. He's on Long Beach State -2 at -108. He's on USC +2.5 at -104. He's on Montana State, Idaho State over 134 at -110. And he's on the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos -2 at -110. Big West action from Dave Rogers. Dave, thank you so much for this, my man. As a quick addition before we get into NBA, did you move on tonight's Thursday nighter?
No, I'm confused as hell. You know, my under trend is gone. I mean, the what happened to the books corrected it, so it's right. I do like your look of trying to get in the Brown, hoping the Jets go up, trying to get in the Browns, get a better number in the Browns live. I'm going to try to find some props, but I might not have a pre-flop for the first time this year on a Thursday. I might not have pre-flop action.
Yeah, it's interesting. There is pressure on the Joe Flacco-led Browns, but they've handled it thus far. They've been fourth-quarter machines. I love it, Dave. Good luck with everything over at Picks from Dave YouTube channel. Nerd Talk on Friday night. If you guys want to play in the tournament while you're on Nerd Talk, we would love that. Mike,
well, first of all, Nick is at home. He will probably be, Nick and Tim will probably play in the tournament, but not be on the show. They don't have, when they're at where they're at, I'm not going to dox them, but they don't have a studio like Nick has, so they probably won't be doing Nerd Talk. But I will be doing it, and I played when I was doing a show with LJ, and I can't concentrate. I mean, I can sit and talk and bullshit, but producing and having a million windows open, and it's just too tough. I wish it was Saturday. I know that people have schedules, but I have a dedication to my show and my audience, and there'll be probably people in the chat playing in the PSR tournament, I'm sure. So,
well, we love working with you, Dave. Keep up the excellent work. Get that cash, my friend. Please follow Dave on X at Dave Pat Picks from Dave. Dave, any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Thanks to the chat. Shout out to you, Jimmy. Shout out to Ramon backstage, and I'll see you next week. Actually, I'll see you tonight, guys. So
Thursday nighter right here. I love it. There he is, Dave Rogers here in business. Love seeing that Armchair MMA. So on my way to Houston to see my dad. We're going to OSU game. Go Bucks from our guy Armchair MMA. I love that. Love that. Respect. All right, we move on to NBA. Coming off a loss last night, where I got a little too cute, and Dutch Boy Fresh didn't get cute. He had the Bucks full game, banking on the heavy legs of Brooklyn, and that was the right way to handle it. I moved on that first quarter. As good as my record looks right now, I'm not running that strong, and I would like to bounce back as soon as possible. I'm still up double-digit units, but there's not a lot of sample size here with my action. But just so you guys know, I'm 35 and 22 is where I want to be. Obviously, 35 and 22, 61.4% plus 11.37 units, ROI plus 19.95%, average line minus 109. In saying that, I'm 2 for my last. I'm 2 and 6 over my last 8. So it's not exactly where I want to be. That the ridiculous streak, 17 and 2, is pretty far in the rearview mirror. We have just the man to help get us back to our winning ways. Darryl Rice joining us, 15 and 10, 60%. That's his goal, season-long goal. Plus 4.18 units, ROI plus 16.72%, average line minus 101. Let's bring him on right now. We're finally going to get the chance to hang out with him in person at Pubapalooza, and I can't wait for that. But he's here with us right now, coming to us from Los Angeles, California. Please welcome Mr. Darryl Rice to the show. Darryl, how are you, my friend?
Yo, I'm good, man. I am good. It's been a really good Christmas. And I'm thinking New Year's, I'm probably not going to remember where I am. I'm telling you that now, already in advance. But yeah, man, good to be back. Happy to be talking ball with you, man. And I got some plays here today. I think there's some money to be made on the board, man. So I'm ready to get this going. Hope you had a good Christmas. Peace and love to everybody in the chat, man. Let's get it on.
Let's get rolling, Darryl. We do have a little bit of issue with the connect. Do you want to refresh for us? Why don't you go out and refresh and get you back in? I think that would be the best thing for you to get you right. I'll set up our first game. Yeah, let's pull him out and get him to refresh here. We roll on. Kong's Clip says, just want to give you a heads up. I'm seeing a trend in Denver Nuggets game. I've hit this 6 times this year. Double result, opponent first half, Denver full game. Opponent first half, Denver full game, always over plus 500. I like it. Robert Franklin saying, yeah, 30 minutes from Long Beach. Definitely ain't no beach. All right, let's set up NBA here, and we got a really nice schedule. Kong's Clip says, that's it, 4 straight. Very interesting look. I love it, man. Let's roll. Let's roll here. And looks like we got Darryl back in business with us. Just waiting to see it. But let's get Darryl back in here. Jose and Ski. A little bit of feedback there. Darryl, talk. That's better. But we're getting feedback from when I talk, so we'll figure out how to fix that. Darryl, let's roll. We start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Pistons 2-28, 1-14 on the road, and we have Darryl's going to jump back with us in a second. But let's set up this Pistons game. Pistons 2-28, 1-14 on the road. The Boston Celtics 23-6, 14-0 at home. We have a Celtics team 14-0 at home, and a Pistons team that's lost 27 straight games. Enjoy, Monty. You got your big contract, and enjoy. Detroit, over their past 5 games, playing quickly, 5th fastest in the NBA, 102.2 possessions a game. Boston 4-1, playing at the pace of 97.47 possessions a game. That is good for 27th fastest pace in the NBA. Let's get into the line history here for this one and also set up our injury situation here as well. So, Darryl, my man, let's hear you.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm good, man. I was probably running a little extra. I think I'm good though.
Yeah, you're money now.
Okay,
you are money now. All right, Darryl. Let's
maybe take my Lakers logo off. I get it. Jose did this shit. Jose did it.
Okay. All right. Let's roll here. We have the 27-game losing streak from the Pistons right now. Stuart Morris out, Thompson Hayes, game time decisions. We have Jaylen Brown out of the lineup for the Celtics. So starring at small forward, Sam Hauser will be there, adding to that starting five. The Celtics are sitting as 17-point favorites right now. 17-point favorites, and that's juiced towards Boston at minus 111. They opened up minus 16.5. They got up to 17, back to 16, up to 17. There's going to be a lot of questions about some of the stars, if you can call them that, of the Pistons. Cade Cunningham, guys like that. And this is probably going to kind of follow them around a little bit, how horrific they've been. And look at the Pistons teams under Dwayne Casey. Were they better than this team? Did they have more skill? I don't know if they did. This total opening up at 231.5 is now at 233.5. Let's get over to the cash flow for this spot and then hand it over to our guy, Darryl. 70% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the Detroit Pistons. 70 and 84, and the market's moving away from them. Wow. Then you have 69% of tickets and just 55% of cash on the over, but it's gone up 2 points since then. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Pistons, Celtics, game one of our NBA card.
All right, Subhuman Guacho. First off, man, I've gained like 30 pounds, bro. So I'm definitely looking healthy. I don't know about young. I'm kind of looking like your Avi, to be honest, bro. But thanks for the comment, man. I appreciate it. Man, some of these guys say the funniest shit on here. Listen, I can open up with that because I'm not going to play this game. I'm not going to play this game at all because I just hate the narratives behind it. Really, it's like, is Detroit going to come out and really play? You just spoke about Dwayne Casey, but what is Monty coaching for? You've heard talking heads, if you are a sports junkie like me, saying that this is a coaching issue here, right? Like, when you're ranked last in any of the four factors of ball, this is all about effort, and it's something that Detroit doesn't have right now. Of course, Jaylen Brown is not playing. Shouldn't make a difference, to be honest. You should be able to look at this game, blindly bet Boston, and go to sleep and wake up with some extra money in your bank. That's the way it goes, especially when it's against the Pistons. But now we're talking about breaking the all-time record. And when it comes to this, you just don't know what kind of game that these young boys are going to have. They don't want to be part of the record books. You don't want to be that team that's breaking the record for the most losing streak. That's one thing. Secondly, we did see that you can have Cade Cunningham go off. I think he had 31 points last game, and they still lost, right? So I can't gauge this team. I got to wait till they start winning, at least at this level here. If you're in a hurry to bet this game, I maybe take Boston Celtics team total over. I don't see how Boston's not going to be able to get what they want. But I don't want to take this game because the narrative behind it is just way too big for me. So I'm off of it.
5 years ago, I'd be drooling over Detroit first quarter plus 5.5. I still find it appealing. Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of points. Anything over 3, I get kind of, I just start getting a little nervous, man. Cade had 41. You're right about that. So if you're going to take it, you have to take Boston at this point. But I don't know anybody rushing to the window to bet the Pistons. This just seems like a game that they're going to lose, and you're going to be in the record books for the most losses in a row. It's sad to say.
+6 on DraftKings right now. I'm gonna let that go right now. But our man Von Polo saying Pistons first quarter and first half. Thank me tomorrow.
See, I mean, that's one of those things that you would suspect that if they're going to give their effort, it'll be early, right? That's usually what happens. You kind of saw that happen with that Bucks game yesterday, and it just fell apart at the end. I was on Bucks first quarter, and that felt like easy money, especially when Giannis was ruled in. That went up to 2.5, 3 points first quarter. I'm like, oh, I got this. And you saw what happened. We lost that by the hook. So I could see, is there a world where Detroit just gives it all they have in the first quarter? When you've got a spread this high, it seems like you might want to go that route, but it's just not a game I want to touch.
Let's roll on. Next up for us, we have Pacers, Bulls, Levine out, Vooch out as well. So it's more of the Andre Drummond show. Brown out for the Pacers. I know they have two. This is not the high-flying Brown. Well, Bruce Brown can jump, but this is Bruce Brown that's out. So let's talk about the situation here. Pacers bounce back after those two losses at Memphis and at home versus Orlando by beating Houston at Houston on the 26th of December, 123-117. The Bulls bounce back from that loss at home to Cleveland by beating Atlanta 118-113. So both teams played on Tuesday, and here they are now. Let's get into the line history for this full game line history. We have Indiana sitting right now at -1.5 at even money. This opened up with them at -2. So they're now they got down to -1 for a little while. They're up to -1.5. So a very slight move towards these Bulls. Then from a total scenario, we're down to 238.5. This opened up at 240. It went up to 241. The interesting thing about this, and the reason why I love having the last 5 games pace, is because the Pacers have completely slowed down. They've changed the whole dynamic here. They're now 14th fastest in the NBA over the last 5 games. They're playing at a pace of 99.50 possessions a game. So they're down 6 possessions a game from the very beginning of the year. They're down 5 possessions from 3 weeks ago. So they've slowed down. Chicago 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace 97.70 possessions a game. When I see two teams playing at less than 100 possessions a game and this total at around 240, I automatically think under. That's not worked for me efficiency-wise. That has not worked for me. And Big Show Picks says, guys, Detroit has been giving it all they have. And Rod Zwacki is on Cade over 23.5 points. So,
okay. I like the way Big Show thinks there. Yeah.
And Kong's clip says Pacers first quarter. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. That's what Kong's clip says here.
Listen, that's why I love the chat, because I probably could get there. I just feel like if I haven't bet on the Pacers or opponents playing the Pacers, did you see what Saturated said? If you just bet opponents' money lines against the Pistons, we're talking $450K in your pocket. So I'm just late to the party here, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm very late to the party.
Well, let's just set up the cash flow here for you of the Pacers game and let you roll here. 53% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on the Bulls, and we've seen it move a point in their direction. Then 80% of the tickets and 93% of cash on the over. 80 and 93, and they're dropping it. It's dropped to 238.5 at Pinnacle. They're welcoming any over cash. Fascinating spot, because you got Drummond slowing everything down, getting all the boards, slowing everything down. Very interesting spot. Take it away, Darryl. Pacers, Bulls.
Yeah, so this is, I was actually talking to Ski about that. He kind of corrected me on something. But I was talking about this game. I really do feel like if you look at it right now, Bulls are playing really good ball. ATS, I believe they're 4-1, 5-1 in their last 6 games, 5 games or so. Bulls had their number last game. If you look at that last game, that total was 229.5, and that game went way under. That game went under. That was the October game. He was earlier this year, beginning of the season. Now we're looking at this game, and you see this total go up to 240, and now it's climbed down to 238.5. If I'm right, last game, I'll pick it up here. Last game they played, Pacers shot 12 for 46 from the 3. 12 for 46 from the 3. They were shooting at a 26% clip. If you look at them, they're right now, I believe they're hitting at over 30% from the 3. So when I see the total this high, this is telling me that the books don't think that the Pacers are going to have that poor of a shooting night, right? When I see it go from 229, go up to 241, I see 238 and a half. I just feel right now this is a game that's going to go over. I just said, or I saw someone that said this model shows Chicago in the under. I do like the side in Chicago, but I'm going to go with my gut here on this one, just based on the totals where last game was and where this game is. I believe people are hitting that under because you're right. The Pacers are playing at a slower clip, but I also think the Pacers aren't going to shoot as poor against the Bulls this game than they did last game. So I do like the over. I've already stepped on that. 238 and a half is where I got it. I just think this game is going to go over here. I do like the Bulls. Money is coming in on the Bulls. We see that line drop from 1.5 to 1 in some books here. So I just feel that this is a spot to where it's too close for comfort for me to think that the Pacers can come out and win this game. Bulls did get them last game. I also think, if I'm right, if we're looking at the Pacers right now are on 1, 2. Yeah, they went to Memphis, played in Orlando, went to Houston. They won that game, and now they're going over here to the Bulls. I just feel like right now this is a spot that the Bulls should be able to get them. This is a spot the Bulls should be able to get them. So I do like the side of the Bulls. I didn't play it. I played the over here, and that's really based upon what the last total was and where this total is now and how it looks like they're trying to get money in on the under. I like the over here.
Interesting. I get it from a standpoint of you expecting a better shooting performance from the Pacers. I get it. And I think you probably picked the perfect time to take the over. This could be the low water mark here at 238 and a half. Yeah. I'm interested in the under. I guess you probably talked me off of it. I'm also interested in the Bulls. And I don't know if I get there. I'm certainly close to getting there. Again, the Bulls have 53% of tickets, 66% of cash. There's been a slight move towards them. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time. Say what, my man?
This is the fifth game. This is the fifth home game. These guys have been comfortable. They've been at home for Christmas. They've laid in their beds. You know what I'm saying? This is a game there. Now, you see their next game, they play Philly on the 30th. And then they go on a little road trip, right? But I just feel this is a spot where the Bulls are a little comfortable. They've been at home for quite some time. So they should be able to make their shots like they have been. And like I said, the Pacers aren't going to shoot as poorly. I think it's over here.
Darryl on the over 238.5 minus 108. Let's move on to Mavericks at Timberwolves. These Wolves 22-7 and 12-1 at home. We're at Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Dallas playing at the fourth fastest pace in the NBA, 102.70 possessions a game. The pace across the league is slowed down a little bit. Dallas 2-3 over those 5 games. Minnesota 3-2, playing at the 16th fastest pace in the NBA, 99.4 possessions a game. Both teams coming off of losses. Dallas on the second half of a back-to-back, playing their third game in 4 nights. They play in Phoenix on Christmas. I mean, look at how hard the schedule has been. On the 20th of December, they're at home in LA. Then they have to fly to Houston, play 2 days later. Then they fly home, second half of back-to-back. Then 2 days later, they fly out to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Then they fly home to play Cleveland, and now they fly out to Minnesota. I mean, this is too much. We're just asking too much of this ball club. Timberwolves played at Sacramento on the 23rd, then at OKC on Tuesday. But this is just asking too much. Now Luka is in, and Kyrie's a game time decision. So you have Kyrie and Kleber now game time decisions. Karl Anthony Towns is a game time decision as well. So there are question marks around who is going to be in the lineup. This total is sitting at 228.5. It opened up at 227.5. It dropped down to 226 before there was buyback. An hour and a half ago, this was at 229.5. So it's dropped down from there, but it still has moved a point to the over, 1 point to the over. From a spread perspective, we are sitting here at minus 11.5 for Minnesota. And this is just a huge, huge spread. Minus 11.5, and it's juiced to minus 113. This opened at 9.5, is now at 11.5 here. And Collins Clip says if Kyrie plays, he loves Minnesota. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for Minnesota as double-digit favorites. 71% of tickets, 71% of cash on them. Then 24% of tickets and 76% of cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Mavericks.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot to get over the game they had yesterday. I just think this is a Timberwolves spot, to be honest with you. Dallas was up against Cleveland, I think, 21 points? All to turn around and play their hearts out and lose that game yesterday. And I think the deflation continues, especially off a back-to-back. You don't really have time to get over it, even though athletes always tell you the best thing to have is amnesia because you always got to think about, next game up and all that. Not here. That was a deflating loss by Dallas. Start pointing little fingers here in that case here. This is when you go back to the locker room and honestly, it's not a really good huddle by the coach or the players. It's really quiet in the locker room. People pointing fingers. So you are home. You lose to the Cavaliers at home without Donovan Mitchell, right? And then you get on the road, get on a plane, still frustrated about that loss to play Minnesota, who right now is, first in the West? So these guys are balling. I just feel like, this number's high. It's high for a reason. I won't play it, but I do believe Minnesota's the side.
North Ender says, no way Luka's playing with this number, right? I mean, that's got to be the first thing.
Yeah, no way. No fucking way.
He's not even listed. Let me just see if he's not even listed as a game time decision right now. Let me just see if I can get a refresh here. I mean, he's not even. Do you have him listed in some spots as a game time decision?
They haven't even submitted the injury report for Dallas, and that was as of 9:30 Eastern. So let's see if I come back out of it.
It's crazy.
Pretty sure they got the 12:30 up now. Okay, perfect. Dallas still not submitted.
All right.
He's not playing.
He must not be playing, but still, you'd like to see that written somewhere. Let's move on. Let's move on to Utah Jazz at New Orleans Pelicans for us next up here on the board. We've been given a couple looks from our cappers in the chat. Sammy Calmer says Pelicans trifecta. Dutch Boy Fresh jumped in the chat, was on the Pelicans as well. You want to jump in, my man?
Hurry up, set this one up because I got a good analysis for you on this one.
By the way, Viper MB is on the Pacers money line going up there against these Bulls, our first breakdown. But here, BI over 23.5 points for our guy Viper. He's also on Zion over 23.5 points. McCollum over 17.5 points. Let's take a look at this spot here. We have the Pelicans off of a 2-game losing streak. They've lost 3 of their last 4, coming off that 116-115 overtime loss at home to Memphis. And, 2 days off since then and 3 days. So this is their 3rd straight home game, which is a really nice position for them to be in, coming off 2 losses. And this is the 3rd of 5 home games. So that New Year's Eve spot against the Lakers is perfect spot for them. And we'll see if that will end up being the case. But at this point, that'll be their 4th game of a 5-game homestand, which is a position that I love. Now, I love the fact that they're off of 2 straight losses as well. So I'm starting to figure out why so many of our great cappers like the Pelicanos in this spot. Jazz have won 3 straight, all on the road. This is their 5th road game. They opened it with a loss and then had 3 wins. This finishes off their road trip. Not a great spot for them. They lose to Cleveland to start it off, and then they win at Detroit 119-111, at Toronto 126-119, and at San Antonio 130-118. Markkanen has gone for 30-plus in both of his last 2 basketball games. At this point, we have the Jazz as a healthy group. Both teams are healthy right now. We have 2 healthy squads going up against each other. And let's pull up the cash flow and the line history then for the spot. So from a line history standpoint, we have the Pelicans sitting right now. Sorry, let me move over to Pinnacle. We have the Pelicans sitting right now at -8.5, at -101. They opened up at -8. They moved to -8.5. Then they went back to 8. They went back to 8 around 10:30 this morning, but they're back at 8.5. It is no big situation to take them -8.5. From a total look here, we have it sitting at 239, juice to the over, at -111 to the over, -101 to the under. This opened up at 237.5, and this got up. This got up to 240 and a half. Did it get 241? No, 240 and a half before it came back down to 239. But we still have a 1.5 move to the over. So we have a move to the over and a very slight move to the Pelicans. The Pelicans have 90% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on them. Why would the line not be? Yeah, why would the line not be moving towards them more than 78% of tickets, 81% cash on the over? Take it away for us here, Darryl. Next spot on the board: Jazz at Pelicans.
You ready for this analysis? I've got a long, drawn out analysis. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Just tell me, man. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Just a little bit. Are you ready for this? A little bit?
Yeah. No, I am.
Give me Pels first half minus. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is, and give me Pels full game minus. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh-wee, Darryl, take it away.
Yeah, okay. So, man, I love how the chat gets down because some of them know me pretty well with some things. Then first off, you can just pull up what LJ said. That's the truth. Pels are second in the league right now when it comes to first half ATS. Second in the league right now. Last 10, this was as of the 21st of December. If you go on oddshark.com, first quarter spreads. Yeah, last 17-3 ATS. So that first half play is at -5. I got it at -5. Man, I don't give a fuck. They should be up double digits in the first half, right? Double digits in the first half. Now, let's talk about narratives here. And this is why I like the full game. If you're looking at this, let's just say, just from a simplistic view, anybody looking at this game is going to see, well, hell, man, Jazz have been on the road and they've gone on a little win streak, man. They're 3-0 ATS in their last 3, and they've played the last 3 games at home, won. Or excuse me, the last 3 games away, they've won. They lost against Cleveland. That was kind of close until it wasn't. But then, yeah, they go out. But who do they beat? Detroit, Toronto. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jimmy. And San Antonio, right? Now, if you look at their head-to-head matchup, you see Jazz have gotten these boys since October 23rd of last year. They beat them 5 straight times in a row. 5 straight times in a row. This is one thing I want to point out about this that is fraudulent. They've played them in Utah, right? So when you've got a team that's beat you 5 times in a row, you're coming off a nice little 3-game where they've been on the road 4 games, but you won the last 3. Why are you not favored, or why is this line at -8? The reason why is because this is a bad spot for Utah. They've been on the road. This is the last game they play before these boys is ready to go home, man. They're ready to go home. I think if I'm right, looking at Utah, yeah, they didn't even get to spend Christmas home. They've been on the road, man, since the 20th. So this is the 5th road game that these boys would have played until they go home, get a little break, and they play Miami on the 30th. So they got a 3-game homestand coming up. Man, these boys are ready to go home. They haven't been home since Christmas or before Christmas. So that's telling you all you need to know about this game. Really, this game I like a lot. The Pels are great in the first half. The Pels are -8, 8.5 here against a team that has mopped them the last 5 times, against a team that right now will be their 5th road game. This is all you need to know about this type of scenario. The books are telling you that even though the Jazz has had their number, it's not the spot for them tonight. I don't think the Jazz are going to last this game. They're just going to be ready to check out and go home. They've won their games they needed to win, if you ask me. They can lose this game, man. Go ahead and take the Pelicans. I wouldn't even take them trifecta here, but the Jazz can get to a point to where, they live and die by the 3. They do play 5 out, so it could be kind of close first quarter. I've said enough about this game. New Orleans Pelicans first half because of what their record is. New Orleans Pelicans full game because the Jazz are going to be ready to go the fuck home. This is a game for them.
Yeah, North Ender says that he agrees. The line says Pelicans. That the line has come out and said Pelicans, but then it hasn't moved despite all the action on them, which I do find interesting, which actually leans me towards, Pelicans first quarter, first half, a little more than full game, just because I would have loved to have seen this move to 8.5 or 9.
I got it at 8.5. I did get it, but I mean, that was going on Bovada. So if I look at my locals, it might be at 8 now, but I got it at 8.5. For the record, simulation site is showing this game New Orleans 122, Utah 111.
Well, we got Darryl full game -8, -110, and the first half -4.5, -113. Is it cool that we went for the 4.5 instead of the 5?
Let's do it. Yes, sir.
Right. Darryl's locked in. I'm interested. I'm interested in what's going on here. It's going to take me a little while. TJ says Heritage, Bookmaker, and the Superbook all have the 8.5. That's helpful. 8.5 bet 365. Okay, let's roll on in the Trill OG play today. Pelicans -4.5. Let's move on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. Eastern. Memphis Grizzlies 10-19, 8-8 on the road at Denver Nuggets, 22-10, 12-2 at home at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. We have Ja as a game time decision right now. A game time decision. Clark, Kennard, Rose out.
Jay. I don't think he plays, baby boy. I don't.
Interesting. Aaron Gordon is out after the dog bite. Let's take a look at the line history here for Nuggets, Grizzlies, and the situation. First, we'll go into the rest situation here for this spot. Darryl not expecting Ja to be in the lineup. They haven't played since that big overtime victory over the Pelicans on Tuesday. They've won 4 straight basketball games, and the Nuggets on the same type of winning run. They're winning and doing it pretty comfortably. They've now won 5 straight games, beat Dallas, started out by 26, beat the Raptors by 9. That was that weird market move towards the Raptors. Very low situation, very, very low favorite, very small favorites. Then they beat Brooklyn 122-117. Saturday night, December 23rd, they beat Charlotte in Charlotte 102-95. And then on Christmas, they beat the Golden State Warriors 120-114. From a line history standpoint here, we are dealing with the Nuggets as 7.5 point favorites. It's a pick 'em at 7.5. This opened up at 6. We've moved 1.5 towards the Denver Nuggets. Again, just like we said with the Dallas, Minnesota spot, and Luka going to be out. Luka is now going to be out. That line's moved to 13. This certainly tells us that Ja will be out as well. We have, sorry, we went over that from a total standpoint. Let's get this refreshed. Sorry about that. From a total standpoint, we're sitting here with it sitting at 224. 224. Pinnacle's moved it up to 224.5. It is juiced to the under. This opened up at 226.5, so it's dropped 2 points there. And from a cash flow perspective, in this one, we have 42% of the tickets and 91% of the cash on the Denver Nuggets. Then 44% of the tickets and 92% of cash on the under. The market following both the spots where sharp action is, we perceive sharp action to be. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Grizzlies, Nuggets.
Yeah, like LJ's look. I didn't get there. I'm just going to wait for it to be official. This should be a Nugget spot. It absolutely should be a Nugget spot. That's one. Secondly, the reason why I didn't jump on the first quarter is I just want to wait for officially the news about Ja. Ja's playing. These Memphis can kind of get up in the first quarter. Like they could score some points in the first quarter. If you look at what they've done over their last 3 right now, Memphis is quietly climbing up the ranks as they're middle of the pack right now. They were first quarter scoring. They were 25th in the league. Now they're right in the middle of the pack, man. Last 3, they're averaging 28 points. Denver in the last 3 is averaging 27.3. So That the spread to me is just a little too high for me to take the Denver Nuggets. But look, this is probably one of those times to where Denver does smash them in the first quarter. I didn't take the first quarter here. However, what I did look at was this. If you know the history of Joker and Triple J, Joker gets Triple J in foul trouble very quickly. Just look at the history between these players. And if anybody in the chat could even vouch for that and back me up on that, or even tell me I'm wrong, Triple J gets in foul trouble very quickly and easily with Joker for whatever reason. I don't know how he gets them, but he does. And because Aaron Gordon's out, I stepped on already because I believe the number's low enough. Michael Porter Jr. rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. rebounds. He's going to have them. 7.5 is a low number to me. I believe he gets you right at 9. May not give you a double-double type figure, but I do believe because Aaron Gordon's out, that's going to leave some room for Michael Porter Jr. Also, because Triple J will probably be in foul trouble early. Remember, Joker can also bring Triple J out because he can shoot at the perimeter and shoot the three. I just believe this is going to be some room for Michael Porter Jr. to grab some boards. So I like Michael Porter Jr. over 7.5. I believe that's a good number for him. He should get them. And yeah, Rob and Sam are right. If you look at the history with Triple J and the Nuggets, primarily Joker, this guy gets in foul trouble, man. So now you start taking size away. You already have Aaron Gordon that's going to be out. I believe it's his hand or whatever. That's his hand. So yeah, this is a spot, in my opinion, for Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. over 7.5 rebounds. I like that. I'm on it. I'm going to get it.
By the way, all the Jazz player props are all out. So
yeah. So I would jump on the line now if you like Denver, because this is about to go up. So if you like that first quarter, you like Denver first half, I believe that it's probably the absence kind of is already baked into the number. I mean, 7.5 is a lot. So I would jump on it now if you are. Yeah, it is a back-to-back. Memphis then has to go to the Clippers next, which Ja will probably play in that game versus playing, full speed and elevation. So yeah.
What was the juice you got on the over 7.5?
Minus 129. 126. I'm sorry. Minus 126.
All right, locked in MPJ over 7.5 boards here. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. We got 3 more spots on this show, and we already heard from BJ, NBA best bet Warriors money line here. Miami Heat 18-12, 9-6 on the road. The Golden State Warriors 15-15, 9-6 at home at the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. From a pace perspective, Miami and Golden State Warriors both 4-1 over their last 5 games, and both playing slower. Miami 28th in the league, 97 possessions a game. Warriors 19th in the league, playing at 99.13 possessions a game. As always, when we talk about the Heat, we're talking about injury issues. All game time decisions right now: Richardson, Martin, Robinson, Lowry, and Butler. 5 game time decisions. And 2 of those, of course, are starters. Starters with Lowry and Butler. For the Warriors, of course, Green and Payton are out, so no change in their situation. Both teams last played on Christmas Day. Heat outlasted the Sixers with no Embiid, 119-113 for their 3rd straight victory. And then the Warriors had their winning streak snapped in that 120-114 loss at Denver. We get into the line history here for this one. We'll start with the total. It is sitting at 228.5. It is juiced to the over. It opened up at 228, so very little movement there. A half-point move. From a spread perspective in Warriors Heat, we have it sitting at the Heat sitting at plus 3.5. The Heat opened at plus 3, so there's been a half-point move towards Golden State Warriors. And let's take a look at the cash flow. 65% of tickets and 85% of cash on the Warriors. So a lot of cash on the Warriors. Moved a half point. I'm not sure if that's enough for someone to want to back them. 91% tickets and 89% cash on the over. Take it away, my man. And Sammy Comer says, I want Jimmy in. Then I will take Golden State Warriors. He wants Butler there. And the floor is yours, my friend. Heat Warriors.
So this is where I want you guys to just do it and thank me later. Just do it. Thank me later when it comes out. Take Jaime Jaquez Jr. points. Okay? We got to catch this train and jump on it early while we can. His points are not out yet, but with Jimmy not playing, this guy is starting to ball. He's starting to ball. Had 31 last game against Philly, had 19 against Atlanta, had 10 against Orlando, I believe. Jaquez Jr., remember that name for the time being. We can ride this wave until something changes or the books start to correct themselves. You're probably not going to get his points until they announce the starting lineups. But Jaquez points are the way to go right now. I think they're going to probably put him at maybe 12 points, maybe 11 points. But that's the way to go right now, as long as Jimmy is not playing. I honestly love Golden State here. So I'm going to tell you right now. And I should have started off with saying, hey, you want my analysis here? So, yeah, if you want my analysis, I'll give it to you. It's real short and sweet. If you're ready for this, I'll give it to you. Ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. So ready.
Give me Golden State minus I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
Confident.
If you looked at that Golden State game yesterday, a lot of things kind of like stuck out to me. And really, where Golden State lost it was the first quarter, and the second quarter, they got it together pretty good. Third quarter, it was still kind of close there. Fourth quarter is when it got away. They only lost by 6 points. I'm telling you right now, man, I think Golden State is playing at a higher level right now. The thing that is a little scary is the fact that they're doing this without Draymond Green. That's one thing. These boys are balling without Draymond. I think Kerr has found the lineup that he's sticking with. And I just do believe with their little run that they went on, they took Denver to the wire, man. This was not really just a game that they rolled over on. And besides of how Golden State's been playing so far, 2, 4, 5, I could have been a 6-game win streak there. So they've played some formidable teams, man. They played Boston. They played Portland back-to-back. They played Brooklyn, who has kind of been up and down. But still, man, I do believe Golden State has figured something out. I really like Golden State here. I do believe this is a spot for them. They can win this game. Miami, they're on a 3-game win streak themselves. They did play really, really good. They've played Atlanta and they've played Philly, 2 really good teams. But I just really feel like this is a Golden State side. I'm looking more at just like the chemistry that this team is playing with. And this is a team that I kind of feel like Golden State is a team that sits and just looks at all the commentary. And when the talking heads talk about them being cooked, them by being not even a playoff team, I think these guys take a lot of that seriously and they play with the chip on their shoulder. And so they're playing good ball. Kerr is a great coach making these adjustments on the fly. If you want to give it to him, I just think they're in a good spot right here. So I like Golden State here, man. I do believe Golden State is going to mop these boys up, maybe by a good 10 points. Looking at the model here, Golden State 118, Miami 113. So you got your 5 points right there. That is by the model. That looks like I do agree with it. So right now, I do believe Golden State is the better team in this position. I'm taking Golden State. I've already jumped on it. Minus 3.5 is where I've gotten the number at also. But I'm going to wait for Jaquez points as well and jump all on that. This guy right now is balling his ass off, especially if Jimmy Butler doesn't play.
I love it. And the Warriors minus 3.5 at minus 104 is what we can offer you. And BJ's best bet on the Warriors money line as well. Let's move on to the final 2 spots on the board. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, San Antonio Spurs 4-25, 2-12 on the road at the Portland Trailblazers 8-21, 4-10 at home, which is the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Spurs have lost 5 straight games. The fastest pace in the NBA over those 5 games, 106 possessions a game. Portland 2-3 playing at the 23rd fastest pace, 98.50 possessions a game. All of these losses have come in the double-digit variety for these Spurs. Blazers coming off a win, a nice win at home, 130-113 over Sacramento. That snapped a 2-game losing streak. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Portland sitting as 5-point favorites, -5, -102. Opened up at -4.5, went down to 4, and then there's been buyback. So the initial move was towards the Portland Trailblazers. That is not the case at this point. From a total look, we have... Oh, sorry. I said that wrong. The initial move was towards the San Antonio Spurs. The initial move was towards the Spurs. Since then, it's moved slightly back in Portland's direction. This total sitting at 235.5 -107. This got up to 236.5 2 hours ago, but it's right back at 235.5. So we have a move to the over. And then again, a very slight move towards the Spurs. Let me just double check that again. So the Spurs open up at +4. Okay, sorry. A very, very slight move, a half-point move to the Blazers. My bad. Okay. So here we go. From a injury situation, Ayton out, Shaedon Sharpe out. So you have a Reed at center for the Blazers, and Graham is out for the Spurs. So let's take a look at the cash flow and then hand it over. From a cash flow standpoint, we have 54% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the Spurs. 92, it's all well and good. Why is the line not, moving towards them? Then you have 19% of tickets and 27% of cash on the under. It's gone up 1.5 points, but is that enough for you? Take it away for us here, Darryl. Spurs, Blazers.
I don't care. I don't care about this fucking game. This game could suck my dick. I don't care about this game, Jimmy. I'm just saying, and this is what you call a bum fight, right? I mean, you're wearing your Spurs hat. I'm thinking you like the Spurs here, but yeah, man, I do not give a fucking shit about this game at all. So it's an easy pass for me.
Man, I think that you have just been given your nickname forever, Darryl Called Quest.
Daryl called Quest, man. That's it.
So good from our guy Millsy, MMA Logger.
Village, man. Little brother. I mean, throwing out some gems here, man. Throwing out some gems. That's a true hip hop head, bro.
Oh, no doubt. That's for real. That's for real. All right. We have no action in Spurs Blazers. Jarek White on the Spurs +4.5. I would need the market to move in the Spurs direction. In fact, I won't do this because the Portland is still somewhat public, not a public spot, but more tickets than the Spurs. If this line doesn't move at all and it stays with this much money on the Spurs, I will look for the Blazers.
Wow.
It just makes no sense that 92% of the cash would be on the Spurs and it would move. The books would say, hey, we'll keep taking Spurs action. Right. So, you know what? So I'm going to leave the Blazers as a possibility here. Blazers, without Ayton, without Sharpe. Let's move on to the final spot on the board. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets 7-21, 3-10 on the road at the Los Angeles Lakers. Now just 16-15, but 10-4 at home. We're at Crypto.com in Los Angeles, California. These two teams have combined to win one of their last 10 games. Charlotte 0 for 5 in their last 5, playing the pace 98.2 possessions game, 25th fastest in the NBA. Lakers 1-4, playing the 10th fastest speed in the NBA. 100.80 possessions a game. We last saw the Lakers on Christmas Day lose 126-115 at home to the Celtics. That came on the heels of their win at OKC. And the Hornets are just a pack of losers. They played Denver tough at home. Then they went to LA and lost by 9. They either play tough and cover or get destroyed. There's no in between. They either do what they did at home to Philly, losing by 53, or what they did at the Pacers, losing by 31, or they play tough. They don't just lose by 12 points ever. Well, I shouldn't say that ever because they just lost by 9 to the Clippers at LA. All right, so let's take a look at the line history now. We have the Lakers with 1 game of rest advantage and not playing very good basketball. They're sitting here as 12.5-point favorites. That's at even money. They opened up at 13. Yeah. So we have a half-point move towards the Hornets. Yeah. One thing is that when the Lakers are playing like this, there's a demand for accountability here, but you have Reddish, LeBron, the Brow, and Vanderbilt all game time decisions, which does complicate things a little bit. And Miller also a game time decision. Miller's tough to watch, man. At times he looks so good. At times he doesn't look in control, and at times he looks. I haven't got a good read on him yet. This total sitting at 227. It opened up at 227.5. And immediately went up to 228, but we're seeing a half-point move to the under. So half-point move to Charlotte, half-point move to the under. When we take a look at the cash flow then for this final game on the board, we have 54% of the tickets on the Lakers, 43% of the cash. So you see why it's not moving. The Charlotte Hornets at 46 and 57. Then you have 29% of tickets on the over and 46% cash on the over. Take it away for us, Darryl. Final game on the board. Final game of our show today, Hornets-Lakers.
Yeah, I don't care about this game. I really don't, man. And the reason why is because the spread is so high and you've got a veteran older team. And it's just this game just screams backdoor cover to me. I don't know why. It just does. Kong makes a good point about, I mean, these are just narratives and things that are happening outside of the game. But I just feel like Jimmy, you remember a long time we talked about LeBron and how he mastered the art of being able to take off games while playing in the game, how he's mastered that, how he's been able to keep his tempo a little lower and not really play hard in a game. So he's able to rest in the game while playing, if that makes sense. We had talked about that some time ago to where he's had the art to do that. And I just think this is one of those games he can do it. If you're going to play this game, first off, I don't trust the Lakers in large spreads. I really don't. Especially in a meaningless game, in a game that they should win with one hand tied behind their back, with one eye closed. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't feel I don't know what kind of effort you'll get. What should happen, honestly, in this game is that if you're going to play this game, I would play Charlotte early because the Lakers just don't cover first quarters whatsoever. They're terrible at it. But so is Charlotte. But the spread is large enough to where you could probably get a good number. Charlotte wins first quarter or maybe keeps it close within the spread. Lakers then go on a run second quarter, and then they're just up from the second quarter up until the end of the game. Just by how much, I don't know. I really don't know. But I just don't trust the Lakers with large spreads in a meaningless game, a game that, because just based on talent alone, they should just blow these boys out the building. And where I feel that you might be able to make some money here is off secondary player props. Like look at Austin Reeves' spot. Now, Austin to me isn't a secondary player, but Darwin didn't even start him. Like he's gone to the bench. You know, he's coming off the bench. He's starting Taurean Prince, Cam Reddish, you know. I'm sorry, if it's not Austin, I believe it is. I have to look at the last starting lineup. It's definitely D'Lo. D'Lo is coming off the bench, right? So just look at maybe these boys being able to get off, and he could probably take their props at a pretty good number. So I would look at probably some D'Lo props, some Austin Reeves props, maybe look at some Taurean corner threes here. I just feel like it's better to probably play some props because this game, to me, I'm not saying that the Lakers are going to lose this game. I don't think they're going to lose. I just don't trust 13 points. I don't. But will I turn around and just bet the Hornets? Hell no. Hell no. So, you know, for me, it's just a prop game or leave it alone. So I'm off this game. Don't really have much on it. I just feel like the Lakers should win. And in this case, it's good for me, man. I'll sit down. I'll pop a bottle of wine here and watch the game comfortably, not having any money on it. It makes a big difference, man, when you have money on a game and when you don't. And so, yeah, let's see how this game plays out, but no play for me.
I'd be all over the Hornets if the Lakers were running real well, but I think that they will be locked in. And the spread's too big for me to back them first quarter or first half, even though the first half is probably the likely spot. All right, let's review all NBA action from our guy, Darryl Rice, currently hitting at 60% on the show right now. That is his goal, and he is accomplishing it. Pistons Celtics, we stayed off, but I have interest in the Pistons first quarter. I think the fact that Hauser's in might make the Celtics a little more locked in, actually.
You think so?
Without a big dog, yeah, I do, because if Jaylen Brown was in, I would like to fade them. And it's not that obviously they're better with Jaylen Brown in, but they look great on Christmas. They feel good about themselves. Now they're playing this horrible basketball team. But the fact that Hauser's in, I think they might be a little more, just locked in off the hop. But the first quarter does interest me a bit. I did like the under, but Darryl has talked me off that under. He's on the over 238.5 in Pacers Bulls. I do like the Bulls. Mavericks Wolves, we've stayed off. Darryl has doubled up on the Pelicanos. Jazz Pelicanos. Darryl's on first half -4.5, full game -8. Now it's 8.5 across the board. Trilogy play of the day from LJ from H-Sons, Pelicans -4.5. Sammy Comer looking at the Pelicanos trifecta. And then
Nice.
MPJ over 7.5 rebounds for Darryl. So there we go.
I
Jaime.
think that's a good look, man. That's a good look.
We're waiting for the Jaime point total to come out for the Heat if Jimmy Buckets is not in the lineup. But Darryl did move on the Warriors -3.5 at -104. And then we stayed off Spurs, Blazers, and the Hornets, Lakers. But if all this money stays on the Spurs all night and this line is, sneaking over towards the Blazers, I will back them. But at this point, I've got to sit with this card a little more because I don't. Maybe I'm going to look to get on the Pelicanos early. I do not want to only have the Bulls because you talked me off the under. So I've got to sit with this card a little longer. And I will tweet out my action after I bet it. Darryl, excellent work, my friend. Thank you for rolling with us here every Thursday. Now 15-10 on the season, running nice. And we get to run with you in San Antonio. I can't wait for that, Darryl. Darryl, my man, thank you. And any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Hey, appreciate all of you, man. Appreciate all of you. I won't see you until next year, Jay. So be safe, man. And you guys all be safe out there this New Year's. Make sure you get into trouble, but not a lot of trouble. And I definitely appreciate you, Jimmy, Jose, you in the background, and everybody in the chat, man, for making this show what it is. It's just a great experience. I love talking ball with you guys every week. And I'll see you next week.
There he is, our guy, Darryl Rice, in the house. Let's review all action here on Betting with the Bag. Thank you guys for running with us. Again, the big news is our poker tournament on Friday. $50 bounties on Jeff Slaughter and myself. $25 bounty on Joseph Thompson. We'll see who else wants to put bounties on them. We didn't get anybody signed up here during the tournament. We still have just the 8 players in. We need more. I'll be hammering this all day. But right now, it's just Garth Daisy, Jimmy the Bag, K Wolf, Big Show, Ramon Scott, Say Hey Jose, Jeff Slaughter, and TJ. TJ and I are also going to be in the who will last longer in the tournament. It doesn't count if you rebuy, it doesn't count. So we are waiting for that. Also, it turns out. So I asked for a bunch of rule changes, and it didn't go through. I'll have to hit it harder. But at this point, the rebuys are longer than 45 minutes. Now the blinds are going to go up pretty quick. Every 15 minutes, but they'll go up, so maybe you won't want to rebuy for $2,500. But we'll have to change that thumbnail, Jose, because at this point we have the ability to rebuy up until the first break. That's not for an hour and 45 minutes. You can rebuy for an hour and 45 minutes. Now, at that level, blinds are 75, 150. Do you want to rebuy and only get, 25 big blinds? I mean, that's, the call of the person who has the cash to rebuy. So we'll find out there. But that's what is up. And Millsy says K-State Wildcats, says Ginn's going to run up all over the field. Says his K-State Wildcats coming in for the win. So please enter the poker tournament. We need you guys in it. And Jose and I will be hosting the live stream and having some drinks and having some fun. This is action for today. In the NHL, I'm only on one spot. The Vancouver Canucks, we've just heard that Casey DeSmith is going to be between the pipes. I don't love that. In fact, I don't even like that. But I still think Philadelphia is just overvalued. And I'm going to fade them as much as possible as we move forward. In NHL, our guy, Mr. Gogster, is on the Habs Hurricanes over 5.5 in Caulfield to score a point. That's a plus 125 parlay. He's on no goal first 9 minutes and 30 seconds to plus 125 in Philly, Vancouver. He's on the Kings money line and Kings Vegas first period draw plus 175. He's on the Oil money line and McDavid anytime goal at plus 110. In NFL, there's no movement here for us, which is a surprise. A surprise. Now, that is not the case for our guy, Mr. Gogster. Let me get Mr. Gogster's action here. Mr. Gogster's got a lot of action on today's card. He has got Breece Hall and Ford each to have 40 or more rushing yards. That's a plus 102. He's on both quarterbacks to throw an interception at plus 126. He's on Breece Hall anytime touchdown plus 195. His same game parlay is the Jets plus 13.5, under 44.5, and Hall and Ford to have 25 or more rush yards. I'm going to be looking to get in live on, and Halliburton questionable now. Wow. Shit. I should have already moved on that. Wow. Thank you, Sammy. North Ender, it's a little tricky, and the Bulls are now -2 with the Halliburton information. Fuck, man. It's annoying. Yeah, this is a little, we were so gung-ho with the card, a little trickier now. Daby Cab, who's 20-9 in college basketball here to start the year, is on USC first half plus 1.5, UCLA first half -3. Dave Rogers gave us Rutgers -2.5. That pops off in 9 minutes. Rutgers, Miami. I got 9 minutes to move on that. He also gave us the under 49.5 in NC State, K-State. Lamont Williams on Kansas State money line as well, and he loves that under 49.5. And then Cab is on Arizona -2.5. I find Oklahoma very appealing here. I'm going to sit with it a little longer. Joseph Thompson's best bet in college basketball is Coppin State, Maryland over 130. Taint play of the day is Tennessee Martin plus 4.5. And then Dave Rogers gave us UC Santa Barbara -2, Montana State, Idaho State over 134, USC plus 2.5, and LBC -2 at -108. And then we just went over NBA. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. Jose and I have the Cappers contest in 54 minutes. Cappers contest show, just 2 weeks left, going down to the wire for the cash and the prizes. Thank you so much for supporting us here. We have nothing without you guys. North Ender, Big Show Picks, Sammy Calmer, Millsy, Mr. MMA, Locker Room, Tori Coker, Jarek White, Viper NB, that one, dude. Poker tournament done. Poker tournament, my man, is Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We need people to sign up. That one, dude. We need you. We need you to sign up. Need you. Kong's Clips, Fanatical Jim, Gold 44. Looking at that Hornets team total over 108.5. JP Taylor in the house. LJ from H-Town looking at Spurs, Blazers over 235. So Spurs 29 to the over. They're playing fast pace in the NBA over the last 6 games. JT Eel, Wine Time Sports, Rob Free. Great to have Rob Free back in action. Jamal Price, nice to see you, man. Thank you guys. Connor, Hurdy, Kelly, TJ, Joseph, Joe. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Von Polo, Joe Yurkovich, Coin, Philly Eagle Flyer. Let's go get that cash. Rod's wacky. Great having you in the chat as well. All you guys, thank you for your support. Lots of moves to make here, and I got to decide within 7 minutes if I'm going to move on this football game at 2:15, so decisions have to be made right now. Thank you to our producer Jose, who works tirelessly behind the scenes, backbone of our operation here. Also, we'll mention the fundraiser for our guy Nasty Nate. We'll talk about it here for the next few days. His son is raising money for the high school basketball team over in Rhode Island. Thank you guys so much for supporting. See you in the Cappers contest show in 52 minutes, but most importantly, let's get their cash. We're running nice. Let's run nicer. Leche. Los bookmakers.